As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Shout out my Ricans and Jamaicans. I know you think I'm hating, but you had no influence in creation of this hip hop. Your participation was tip top, but Black Americans showed you how to rip shop. Have you forgot that we taught you how to dress? Back then, coming out looking like a mess. Y'all were dumbing out, tank tops made a mess, shoes clunky. We showed you how to get funky fresh, amongst the best. We helped you learn the language, so at school you wouldn't flunk the test.
Let's address the elephant in the room.
The elements came from Bam, the man grooms. Breaking just another dance that came from the culture. Don't be like the other man and act like a vulture. All day influences, FBA. I'll say it's true right to this day.
As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room.
As
you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Okay, the sun isn't 93 million miles away. If it was, then why is it dark in space? The sun and moon are right here in the atmosphere. It's clear, just that information that these bastards fear. I send an invitation to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Wanna debate him cause I feel that his ass lying. How is the fly defying gravity? If it's holding down the ocean, that's a ridiculous notion. And water always finds its level. It can't curve on a ball, but y'all still have the nerve and the gall to call me a flat earther, like I'm a bad person. Shit is sad when I see the ignorance worsen. And I know this doesn't jive with the lessons, but I will always be a 5 to my essence. I think it's time we address it. Renew our Quran, what we need to do, word is born.
As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Hold up. Today is Teacher Maria's birthday. Happy birthday to Teacher Maria. We love you, Teacher Maria. Thank you for always coming through and supporting. I'm going to need my moderators today. Welcome back to the God Pod with Lord Jamar. I'm Lord Jamar. Let's get right to it. Okay, y'all saw the bullshit that happened on Godfrey's show with, the fake professor. And I'm going to tell you, I can't get too much into detail about this right now because I think there's some things going on. But all I can say is, I apologize for the poor showing. To all my flat earth people out there, this changes nothing. Although I know I made myself look bad from being out of sorts for many different reasons that I can't necessarily get into at this moment. But I definitely was not myself that night. And I thought certain people were my friend, and you don't want to believe that your friends would do certain things, but yeah, it's definitely possible. But yeah, I was just not in my right state of mind. I apologize for allowing y'all to see me lose my cool. Yeah, that's what happened. I lost my cool. I let this sucker bitch, pull me into some shit. There's a guy on the show that used to be an ex-pimp, and, since he couldn't best me the last time, he did what a pimp does, and he got a bitch to do his dirty work. And that's what happened. So what I would like to do, since everybody's watching right now, everybody's got their eye on me. I'm sure there's mad people that are here just to talk shit about me in the comments. Well, first of all, if you want your comment read, if you want me to even look at it, you're going to have to pay at least, I don't know, $20 for me to even acknowledge your shit. So don't think that I'm looking at the regular chat. I'm not. I'm only looking at the super chats. So, yeah, if you want to diss me, it's going to cost you. So have at it. $20 minimum, and I'll read your diss, telling me I'm the stupidest man and I need to go back to 3rd grade and all of this type of shit. All right. Well, listen, I brought my experts with me. Okay. And we're going to give you a presentation on not why we think that the earth is flat, but why we know it is flat. I will answer certain questions that were brought up that night that, you know, my mind was in a fucking fog. But yes, people, I admit I shit the bed and it will never happen again. And just like any other champion who may be knocked down momentarily, motherfucker, I'm always going to get right back up, swinging like a motherfucker. Okay? So with that being said, let me welcome my guests to the God Pod. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sean Hibbler and Flat Earth Dave.
Thanks for
What's
having
up,
us.
man?
What's good, my brothers? How are you, gentlemen?
Doing well, man. Doing well. I appreciate the invite for this, and hello to your wonderful audience.
Yep. And I feature your content all the time. You do great short videos, and it's awesome stuff. We're waking up a lot of people to the truth.
Now, shout out to Flat Earth Dave. He has the Flat Earth clock, which you can download right now on
flatearthdave.com.
flatearthdave.com, but it's in
It's for Android and Apple, but the easiest way to find it is go to flatearthdave.com, click the link at the top, and there it is.
Bang, 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 bang.
Because the Globers already have a fake one under the same name on the Google Play app, and it just brings you to Glober nonsense.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're desperate. They do everything they can to deceive and hide the truth.
And Sean, I was in your movie, Old World Order.
Right there, yeah. For those that want to know about the old world, go check your boy Jamar out in Old World Order. Just go to HibbelerProductions.com, and it's right there for free, ready to go.
You also have a movie, Level. Was I in Level 2?
No, you weren't, but you were a big fan, bro. You always
I was a big fan of Level.
The Next Level and Level With Me. Flat Earth Dave's in 2 of those 3, but I would suggest that everybody goes check those 3s out. Those 3 documentaries I made for the people that are kind of on the fence, or they're not too sure about one way or the other. Is it a ball hurling through space? Is it a flat stationary plane? I made these films for you. So this is how you awaken. This is why I did those films. And I really want to thank you publicly, Jamar, for being a part of Old World Order. A lot of great feedback, especially when you were talking about giants and dinosaurs and all the shit that you were spitting. It really made my job as a director easier. And the film turned out really, really good. So
it definitely did.
I'll make a claim here on the series Level, the Next Level, and Level With Me. It's scientifically impossible to watch all 3 and remain a Glober.
I'll toast to that. Yes.
See, I feel like it's scientifically impossible to do any real study in this and remain a Glober. It's people who are relying on their 3rd grade education or some sort of indoctrination that they got later on, because again, something I need to say is I'm a common sense person, right? I'm not a fake scientist who has people doing research for me and then telling me all this type of stuff. I do my own research, But where I fucked up, right, by going on that show, and I know the art of war. I didn't study my opponent. Like, I didn't study the enemy. I didn't know this guy had 6 million, subscribers and all this type of nonsense. I didn't know he was a professional hit jobber type of guy. And yeah, there's a lesson to be learned in that.
He's propped up by Google. Like, you search flat earth stuff that has nothing to do with him, whatever. You search, Austin Whitsitt was debating him and was saying that the algorithm feeds them Flat Earth Dave stuff. I mean, not Flat Earth Dave, Professor Dave stuff. And he said, no, it isn't. So Austin searched geocentrism debate Austin Whitsitt. And the first thing that comes up is Professor Dave video. So it's proven right there. And, the guy, his best argument, if you Google flat earth, you end up seeing my debate with him. By the way, if you want to feel better about your performance, watch my performance with him, because I went in thinking that he was just a guy that wanted to learn the truth and just hasn't seen it. It was very, very naive on my part. But the only thing he got out of it is that, he was talking about spectroscopy and how we know what the other stars are. And I was pointing out that gas needs a container. And so he's like, well, spectroscopy is water. Yeah. And I said, you can't have because I can't say the word spectroscopy without a container. And they ran away. Dave thinks spectroscopy needs a container. Well, you do need a container if you want to have gas to analyze. So that's it.
I just want to say that I feel, though, that I must have been doing a good job if some professional globetard with 6 million followers comes after me on my channel, who I only have 175,000. The fact that I even got on his radar must have meant that I was doing something good, because he was making videos about me prior to this. And I didn't even look at those videos. I'm just thinking, oh, this is some low-level dude that's just trying to get famous off me. I did not know the level he was at.
Yeah, but I watched the whole show with you two, and Professor Dave, even though he's an actor and he's lying, he didn't prove a fucking thing on the show. He's asking you to define words, this, that, and the other. See, I have not heard why water doesn't remain level at all times. I have not heard why it doesn't need a container. He said nothing. You actually spit some facts, bro.
He tried to bring me into water that obviously I wasn't comfortable in. I am not one who has a whole bunch of scientific terms under my belt right now, where I can tell you, first of all, most people wouldn't know the scientific term of what they're saying a vacuum is. And we can get into what they're saying a vacuum is, because that's fucking ridiculous. As opposed to what a common sense vacuum is. A common sense vacuum sucks, but this is where tricknology comes in, where they start using these words like theory. Anybody else feels like a theory is something that is an educated guess, but no, they'll say, no, a theory is actually something that's been proved. This is where the lies exist in the terms. So I'm not proficient and someone who has all these scientific terms under my belt, and that's where he was making me look bad. There's plenty of people right now. I saw somebody else being debated. They were trying to go at Candace Owens. I bet you a lot of people in here wouldn't know that these scientists would tell you that heat and temperature are two different things. But every layman would believe that heat and temperature is the same thing, but they're going to tell you that it's two different things. So I say that to say a lot of the trick knowledge is embedded in the language. It's embedded in the definitions. And please think about who's giving you these definitions. Who's giving you these definitions? The so-called there we go. The Rockefeller pseudoscientists. If you follow the money, you will follow where the education comes from.
Jamar, when they say, where's your degree? Where you don't have a degree, we're autodidactic. We're self-taught. We use common sense instead of nonsense, right? But if I wrote the book of bullshit and it was this thick and I gave it to you and Sean, you guys study it for a year, I test you and you both get 100, I'll give you a diploma. You've now got a degree in bullshit. And when you talk bullshit with your friends, they can't challenge you because you have a degree and they don't. That's what that's what the science community is. They're memorizers and regurgitators. That's it.
That's what I've always said, though, is that if you defend the globe model, you're defending Rockefeller books. You're defending the mainstream science and history. You might as well get your 5th booster by now if you're going to keep defending mainstream science. You can't have it both ways. There's a bunch of liars that lie to us about history, lie to us about the shape of the earth, where we live. They don't want you to know that you're created. This is a created place by our creator, God, whatever you want to call him. That's exactly what they don't want you to know. So the more you speak of this Big Bang Theory, heliocentric bullshit, the more you're defending Satan's plan. So it's like the burden of proof is on the globe heads. No one's ever proven anything in modern day. Think about it that way. All you do is look back and say, thousands of years ago, there was a stick and a shadow, and shut the fuck up. What about today? It's 2025. What tests are these motherfuckers doing to prove a moving, spinning earth? There's none. So
first of all, one of my requisites before even coming on there, I said, whoever this guy is, tell him to provide me with a working model of a ball that has water around it and sticks to all the way around as it spins. This motherfucker gonna say a tennis ball. No, Jamar, not a tennis ball.
They need their model to reify their model. Well, you can't do that because it's not big enough. So they need their model to reify it. So think about this. This is from Marty Leeds, who is a great researcher. He said the globe doesn't have a model. They've got a toy that sits on a counter. You can't pour water on it, like you just said. You can't stick a cruise ship or a person to the bottom of it. You can't contain air on the outside of it. So it's not a model. It's a toy. But if we looked at the flat Earth model and compared it to a bucket of a dinner of bucket from Kentucky Fried Chicken with the mashed potatoes and the gravy and everything, the gravy lays level in there. It's contained. You can float a cruise ship on it. The plastic dome over the top, you can put air in there. It'll be contained. No one's going to fall off of it. You put a little boat in there or a person, and it's contained. A bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken is a better model for the Earth than the globe.
I can make a model with this ashtray, pouring water into it, and just putting some sort of covering over it. Like it's that simple. And then use a flashlight to go around to show you how you have time zones and all this type of stuff. Nobody can show these fake nobody has a model of this globe except in computers and animation and all of that. Let's read this question real quick from S. It says, what do you think of the theory that the earth is not flat, but that it seems that way because it's a lot bigger than they say? First of all, there is an equation for this. Okay, it's 8 inches for every square mile, you should see visible curvature. So for 100 miles, there should be 6,000 feet of curvature that we do not see, sir. So
do you notice how flat earthers always round down in the globe favor? It's 6,600 feet. You left off 600 feet of additional curvature. It's okay. We can give them whatever they want because it's so discrepancy. Here's a quick thing for those of you that are new. Let me just get rid of the canal here for a second. So large bodies of water at rest lie flat. Why is that showing that? Large bodies of water at rest lie flat. There it is. Sorry. Let me get rid of that. And when they're cold, they freeze flat. So we have a frozen lake here. We have a camera 6 inches off the ground, and we have these lights out here, 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now, that doesn't seem far, but according to the globe size that they claim, 24,901 miles around, those of you that are fighting for the globe don't even know that, there should be more than 30 feet, 22 feet, 15, and 9 feet of curvature. These things should be behind the curve, but they're not. They all line up there. So there's two options. A, the earth is flat and we just see them all there. Or B, this camera with its horizon, which should be about a mile away at that height, all of these things are refracting up magically and different amounts and stopping at the tangent to their view of the edge of the earth to make you think the earth is flat. It's ridiculous.
And then you see Chicago skyline over Lake Michigan. I mean, you can just keep going and going and going and going. It's there because the earth is flat. This has been destroyed. Well, hold on. This has been destroyed for many, many years now. They have nothing. All they can do is try to mock and get actors on to try to really get the audience on their side with words and little power moves and stuff. Like, the facts are the facts, man. We're not moving. And anyone in the audience listening, please explain why you think you're spinning around the sun, why you don't feel any motion. It's not just one motion. That's the one thing.
Can you give them a graphic of all the motions that they say we're going through? Because it is so.
Yeah, and people say, well, on an airplane, this is the default. People are programmed to say this. Well, on an airplane, I could drink a glass of water and go to the bathroom. I said, if you want to compare
You're inside of something,
if you want to compare it just to the slowest motion, you have to double the speed of the airplane. You have to remove the outside of the airplane, and you have to nosedive at a mile per minute, because we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. We're orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour, funny number, and we're chasing the sun at about 500,000 miles an hour, never to return to where we were before. 4.5 billion miles a year, never to return. None of the stars ever change.
Constellations for thousands of years.
Right. And these are all curved motions, right? And so I agree. If you're in an enclosed system and it's moving at whatever speed, you could claim that you wouldn't feel it. But as soon as it takes the slightest turn or changes acceleration, and that's what happened. We're going around the sun in an ellipse. We're speeding up and slowing down. We're curving the whole time. Get a dinner plate. Go 100 miles an hour in the nicest car possible on the smoothest, straightest road. Fill the dinner plate with water, and then have that car speed up, slow down, or take the slightest turn. The water's gone, right? The water's gone, right? These speeds you can't even fathom. Have you ever seen the hypersonic sled track, Jamar? This is NASA's rocket sled. Watch, it's going to go by at Mach 8.6. Can't even fathom that speed. It's ridiculous, right? It's absolutely insane. And you have to believe that we are orbiting the sun, ready? 10 times faster than that. We are chasing the sun. We're chasing the sun 100 times faster than that in curved trajectories. But when we go out into nature, we see stuff like this. Right? Now, your common sense, which God gave us, tells us
that looks like glass. That looks like a mirror.
We're not moving.
It's a flat mirror, not a curved mirror.
Claiming that the land under it is moving, yet the water is perfectly still.
In curved trajectories. Now, look, this isn't like a funhouse mirror. This is an exact mirror. It's showing you that it's flat. When you go into funhouse, you look at those curved mirrors, it doesn't look like this. Look, common sense versus a guy with a pocket protector and a bunch of pads and pens in his white lab coat, who's a failed comedian telling you something else. Use your God-given common sense.
I also want to say that, yay! Revenge of the Nerds. Like, all the fucking nerds is in my DM, and you're so stupid, with their pocket protectors, and they feel like the nerds fucking won. Hey, we got the cool guy. We made the cool guy look stupid.
Jamar, I offer 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. Don't try to debunk the flat earth. Prove the globe. 3 Bitcoins. That's $300,000.
Ooh. Go. Go.
And how long has this been going around, Dave? This has been years you've had this out.
It's been about 5 years or more, because I remember when I did it, it wasn't that much, so I had to raise it to 3 Bitcoins because when Bitcoin crashed. And so I kept it at 3 Bitcoins, and now it's $300,000.
You know how many people probably went out in the last 5 years to try to prove some of this bullshit they teach us in kindergarten, and they failed, and they're like, "Fuck."
Listen, this is how you become a flat earther. Something motivates you to disprove flat Earth, because that's how I became a flat earther.
That's how I got into it.
Yeah,
I thought this was the stupidest shit in the world. I was like, are you fucking serious? I remember I was on this other podcast, they asked me, I said, are you serious? I said, this is the type of dumb shit they're using to try to confuse people, blah, 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 blah. And I'm talking to my brother one day, and he's like, yo, bro, I've been checking this shit. I think you might want to just look into this shit a little bit. Like, dude, and I'm like, all right. And I started looking into it.
We all have it.
And and I thought I could disprove it immediately. And the
Same.
more you really truly look into it, the more you find there is no way to disprove it. Real quick, Sidewalk Publishing said the only way to see all the planets aligned is on a flat Earth.
Absolutely. So people were, I did a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. We're looking into all the conspiracies and stuff, and I was open-minded. I'd look at anything, all the big psyops, and people started sending me flat Earth stuff, and I just would ban them. I'm like, you're stupid. You can't even listen to our podcast, and we're banned. And then finally, my another researcher, Sophia Smallstorm, who I was speaking with, she's like, Dave, you got to look into this. So I didn't go into it with an open mind. I went into it like you to debunk it. I'm just like, screw this. I'm going to be done with this. It's wasting too much of my time. And for 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. And that was back in 2014 when you'd watch a good video, YouTube would go, oh, you like that? Here, watch this other relevant video. Oh, here's another relevant video. Now you search flat Earth. If I sent you a video like how circumnavigation works, you watch it. The next video that pops up will be how it doesn't work, right? Because they're doing everything they can. So all of the videos are hidden. That's why I created the app. And here's the challenge. Don't waste my time, right? The app's $3, one-time charge. Every day there's a featured video right here. We got Eddie Bravo right here and Nathan Oakley. And I say just watch that daily
video too. I watched that.
Yeah, watch the daily video every day while you're having your coffee or whatever for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you think the Earth is a globe, send me your proof and you win. But before you do that, you got to click the question mark button, which is the frequently asked questions page, and all of your questions are answered here. Maps and seasons, how seasons work, where does the sun go? They're all there. Why the lie? One of my favorite sections, and all of these videos. All of those videos are hidden from you from Google. You'll never find them on your own.
Yeah, they're hidden.
Yeah, they're hidden. So
I went about it a different way. You guys both went about it where you're going in, trying to debunk it in a sense. I kind of just said, you know what? This kind of seems a little nutty, but let me prove to myself that NASA and the space agencies are real. So what I did was I went right to nasa.gov. And at first, actually, I went to nasa.com and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, it's .gov. Oh, shit. I didn't even know at the time. I'm like, it's 2014. I'm like, this is a government entity. I'm like, oh, shit, I totally forgot about that. They're government. Okay, but hold on. Let me go to nasa.gov and look around, look for some videos. And I'm looking for pictures, okay? Pictures. Like with a camera, snap a picture on NASA's website. They don't even have the word. It's all images. I'm like, wait a minute. And then the images I'm looking at look like cartoons. Let's be real. And then on top of that, it says like it's the author. It's like multiple people. Like how many fucking people does it take to snap a picture? Well, it's a composite image. Number one. Number two, I went to the video section. They don't have many videos at the time. And I'm like, there's got to be a POV by now. This is 2014. I'm like, in my mind, it was pretty modern day. And I'm like, there's got to be video of POV. They got cameras on the space station. They're just flying into space. No edits, no cuts, just going straight in there. I wanted to see space junk flying around. I wanted to see satellites orbiting, them like getting out of the way of the satellites. Like, watch out, Bill. Oh, we're going to go. There's none. So I'm like, wait a minute. They don't have any videos of this shit. Then I started looking at the ISS and I started seeing bubbles coming up and all this shit. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. I can't find anything genuine that makes my heart and soul. And again, I went in this open-minded, guys. I'm like, nothing seems real. This is really weird. And that's kind of how I started. I started to break it down from that perspective, man.
This is the 2012 Blue Marble shot. And if we take it and we take a world map, so this is, they tell us the world map now, and we put it right here. So here's the United States and Mexico. You have to believe that all of this land is on the other side of this ball. Okay.
Right.
And all their images are they're all different. The continents are different sizes. But one thing, when you zoom in on a lot of these images, Dave, as you know, Jamar knows too, that it's in Photoshop. They clone the clouds. They just copy and paste clouds everywhere. These are artists that go into Photoshop and they create these. That none of these are photographs. So anyone saying here's a picture of Earth from space. No, it's not. That's fake. That's an image. Why do they not have any real ones? Well, they can't go up high enough to even probably take a picture of one state, let alone the whole world.
First of all, ask yourself, people, why are distances on a map put in a straight line? Why is there no curvature associated with going from one place to another? When you make a calculation on a map, it's a straight line. It's going to be a straight, however many.
Why do we use an XY 2-dimension coordinate system on a 3-dimensional ball? Why don't we have an XY and a Z axis? Right?
No
here's 9 images of Earth from NASA. They're all completely different. So at least 8 of them are fake.
This is what these people are defending. Like, look, there's a picture from space. Pick one. What's your favorite one?
Yeah.
Because they're all different.
Now, see, also, okay, now, hang on. Let's look at these for a second, right?
I'll go back.
When you look at a globe, right? When you have a globe, right? You have the North Pole, right? Which on the ball, see, this is where they try to use trigonometry too. And this is what the dude was doing on the show. When you go out in space, I guess, and you look at the ball, there's going to be a top, motherfucker, and there's going to be a bottom. They're trying to act like wherever you at is down, and bro.
Pseudoscience.
Stop the fucking trigonometry bullshit. But when you're in a room full of people that have set you up to go along with this shit, you seem like, you know what I mean? You seem like the crazy one amongst these motherfuckers. But yes, if you hold a ball and y'all saying it has an axis, like y'all are the ones actually saying that it's at an axis and there's a North Pole, meaning a top, and a South Pole, a bottom. Y'all literally call Australia down under, but now all of a sudden there's no bottom. This is what you're telling me? Like, but I'm the dumb one. I'm the one that's so ridiculous and I look so stupid. Somebody sent me a picture of a basketball spinning around and said, "Where's the top?"
This is they tell us that the diameter of the Earth is just under 8,000 miles. But here's something we can measure. We can drive across Mexico and Baja, and we can find out this is 934 miles right here. So that's 934 miles right here. And so I should be able to fit 8.5 of these in between these two lines, right? So anyone with a mind that can think below a surface level thought, which is rare these days, will have to understand that this is bullshit. This is complete and total fakery. And then once you realize NASA's faking pictures of Earth, there's nothing else you can trust NASA for. Nothing.
Jamar, you wonder why when there's debates about the globe Earth and the flat Earth, no globe Earth person will ever start with what they should start with are pictures from space. They'll never pull out, look at this picture.
How about just do a live stream with the rocket looking back at Earth? Give me an uncut shit where we're going back in space. We look back, and now we could see the shit spinning. We see the buildings upside down and sideways and all that crazy shit that y'all are claiming could happen on a ball. We're seeing the water stick. Just show us that. And everybody will go home and apologize. But you motherfuckers will never show that. Hang on real quick. Damon Dennis said, "Peace, Lord Jamar. Brother, do you believe we are confined to the earth under a dome?" Romans 11:32. God has confined all of them together in disobedience so that he might show all of them mercy. We can't go to space. See, there's a lot of indications for certain things. I don't like to get into things that I can't necessarily prove. What I can prove is water always finds its level. Water always needs a container. We are not moving. Like, we can prove that we are not moving. We can prove that the sun and the moon are here in our atmosphere with us, just based on corpuscular rays, things of that nature.
Bro, you can even look at a full moon at night when it's cloudy. You see a full moon at night. Why is I'm asking your audience, why would the moon only be glowing on 4 clouds underneath it when the rest of the sky is in blackness? If that moon was hundreds of thousands of miles away, shining on a little BB Earth, the whole fucking sky would be evenly lit or evenly dim. But no, you get a little, because the fucking thing is right. It's right there.
And also, if you show the sun or the moon over water, it will make a sliver down onto the water, showing that it has to be a disc and not a sphere as you guys think it is. Those are discs. And back in the days, they used to call it the sun disk.
It's like to me, it's like wormhomes. It's kind of like a source of energy. The only way it would have
that straight line down, and that's why it's like the Eye of Horus, that's what shows and proves that it's a disc. It could not make that on the water if it was other than that.
I just want to point out that looking up at the lights in the sky, the sun, moon, stars, asteroids, whatever, we can't prove what they are, but we can prove what they're not. We can prove that whatever this light is, it's local, because look what it's doing. It's not lighting up the clouds over here. It's lighting them up over here. What is it? I don't know. The only thing that you can honestly say, this is from Crow 777 Radio, is they're lights in the sky. They're lights in the sky because we can see them. That's all we can honestly say. We don't know how far they are. We don't know what they are. Now, we can measure the moonlight, and it's cold. It's the opposite of sunlight. You magnify moonlight, it gets colder. Weird, right?
The sun's not shining on a dirty rock. No.
Right. And it's also
when
reflecting.
Do rocks reflect things like that? That's crazy. Yeah. Like, when have you seen a reflective rock that does that?
Here's Apollo. Look at this. This is the lit side of the moon, but from Earth, it's this bright. Okay. And you got to remember, when light travels, it disperses and it gets weaker and weaker. So they're right next to the moon, but we see the moon this bright at home. We could read a book by it. It casts our shadow on the ground. I mean, people aren't able to think because of the indoctrination. It's amazing.
No one wants their ball taken away, Dave. They get this, they get this shoved in their face. All of us get it shoved in our face in kindergarten. And just like Santa Claus, eventually, hopefully, your parents tell you, "Hey, Santa's not real." No one tapped on your shoulder in third grade and said,
"Sean, Dave, I'm not going to lie to you guys," and it's crazy, but a lot of these guys, they really love balls.
Yeah, well,
they love these balls.
They believe in Santa still.
They're like, "Look, Saturn is a ball. Mars is a ball." Like, no, it's not. They just showed you balls.
Think about this.
Made you love a ball from a young age. But
everybody, go out.
Balls.
Go out tonight, where we're just past the full moon. If it's a clear night where you are, wait until the moon's high in the sky, and you could read. It'll cast your shadow on the ground, right? So we have a nice, big, bright moon in the sky. That light is dispersing. It's getting weaker. When you're closer to something, every time you half the distance of something, it's like 4 times brighter, right? And that's called the inverse square law of light. I'm standing right next to this thing. It's noon. Okay. Well, I should be obliterated with brightness. This is more shiny than the dusty, dirty ball, right? And as far as, taking a ball away from a baby, it doesn't go well. But, if your entire life is built around this ball, try taking a ball away from a grown man that loves space and loves aliens and loves, his spinning ball world. It's easier to deceive somebody than to convince them they've been deceived.
Rhode Island said, "Peace, Lord Jamar and guest. A few months ago, I started coming around to flat earth theory, no pun intended. I still wonder what would be the purpose of globe earth. How does it benefit the
I'm going to start this one off, please.
I love that question.
The globe earth is a container of all the known lands. Okay. So if by the time they got public indoctrination camps ready, early 1900s, Board of Education started in 1920, which is why most people, if they're still alive today, past 100 years old, they will admit that they were taught the earth is flat in school. This is newer than you think. These Freemasons have created stories about thousands of years ago. Other Freemasons knew that the earth was a ball. No, that's a story. You can decide to believe or not believe it. But once you understand that the globe is an actual container for the 7 continents that we were told about, what if there's 1,000 continents? What if there's 2,000 continents? Well, you have to take someone's word for it. And in my opinion, it pushes God away from everybody. It promotes a Big Bang Theory, which was also started in the 1920s, by George Lemaitre, a priest who was what's his name's buddy, Albert Einstein. So this is,
and when has an explosion ever created anything?
This is newer than people think. They're only going based off of a story that it was thousands of years ago. That is a story. There is no actual record or facts regarding this has been around for thousands of years. No, it has not.
You know what they say the vacuum of space is?
Define vacuum.
Yeah. It's supposed to be nothingness, right?
Yeah.
Well, then how is there anything in space? And did you know that a vacuum, conveniently, a true vacuum of space cannot be recreated here on Earth? Oh, so we just gotta trust you guys, huh? So when we talk about the thermosphere, is this many, it's so hot and we're thinking it should melt metals? No, because in a vacuum of space, conveniently, the molecules are there's not enough stuff there to make things hot. So it's not like how you think of heat or temperature on Earth. See, bro, y'all
Dave,
gotta
you're
be
muted.
fucking kidding. See, now that I'm learning the fucking the devil's rebuttals, it's fucking even crazier. I didn't even really know what a lot of the shit that they were saying about this shit.
And what you'll find is when you talk to Globers, they love going back 2,000 years. And they have stories from the past that they can't verify, and they love looking up at space and making claims that they can't verify. That's all they have. They've got nothing, right? And all of these guys, I don't know if they ever existed. We don't know if their stories are real. Eratosthenes, who did his Sticks and Shadows 2,000 years ago in Greece and proved the ball within 2% of what we realize it is today. Nobody wrote about that until the 1900s.
There you go.
There was other
and
mathematicians
did he call his
that came out.
500 miles away, Dave? Did he call him and say, "Hey, we got
his buddy walked 500 miles away, counted his steps. Imagine that, 7,952. So what number was I on? He figured out 500 miles. He knows what latitude he's at, and somehow he takes a measurement at the exact same time.
Santa Claus is more believable.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But about why they're hiding this, they're hiding technology, they're hiding more land, they're hiding free energy, they're hiding the creator, they're hiding your spirituality, they're hiding more resources, scientific knowledge, what's in Antarctica, they're hiding that you're special, they're hiding your true potential. That's just the beginning. Okay.
Shout out to, I'm sorry, did I?
Go ahead. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Shout out to Sadat's missing tooth. He said, I can't see the curve, but I can see their lies. You're goddamn right. Calvin Shaw, thank you. He said, get a laser thermometer, point it at the moonlight, then point it in the shade. The moonlight is colder than the shade, the opposite of the sun, which means the moon is giving off its own light.
100%, Calvin.
Thank you, Calvin Shaw.
These are facts, guys. Like, anyone can talk shit about it, but these are literal facts. You can go do that test right now.
So all you people that were out there, and a lot of 5%ers believe that the moon is reflecting the sun's light, and unfortunately, that's just not true. That's not true, and we're gonna have to take that out of our teachings, because it can be showed and proved that that's not true. And I don't care if you're enlightener, people back in the days used to say that, and people that you had fond affiliations with. When you know better, you do better. Okay, so let's stop with the nonsense.
I want to bring up one other thing. The trolls they come hard wherever I am. They come hard. They come after you. Whenever
right. I'm sure they're all in my comments right now, but I don't see it because I'm only looking at the super chats.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't want anybody listening to this that's new to this topic to believe whatever Lord Jamar says, whatever Hibbler says, or whatever I say, or whatever the trolls say. We're pointing at some doors. It's up to you to go verify these things. Belief is the enemy of knowing, or belief is the lazy man's knowing, because it takes no effort.
And let me remind them, they're defending Rockefeller's education.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't want you to
look really stupid.
I want you to at least do the study before you start laughing and doing all and feeling so condescending, as if, you made yourself look so stupid, Lord Jamar. You don't even know about weight. And man,
listen, on my
deep fried.
On my website, flatearthdave.com, scroll down below the app and you'll see a big picture of me, and it says Crash Course. And there's a playlist there. If you watch the first 1, 2, 3, or 5 videos, you will be a flat earther. So don't do it unless you're ready to transition your life.
Don't do it.
But you won't find these on your own.
Well, that's the problem is that they go to YouTube and they type in flat Earth,
and they get nonsense.
That's a problem. They are censoring they're going to show you what they want you to see on it. If you rewound time, I'm talking to the audience, you rewound time back to 2014, 2015, and you went to YouTube at that time and you typed in flat Earth, you're going to find like genuine people like ourselves talking about this, explaining things, showing you models, showing you this, showing you that. Now you don't find anything. Isn't that strange? Like, how is that not strange to people that when you type in flat Earth, you get the same results as you type in flat Earth documentary, same results. You type in flat Earth proof, the same results come up.
Yeah. Top 10 reasons the Earth is flat. You get top 10 reasons the Earth is a globe. Right.
Dexter Robinson said NASA is Hebrew for to deceive.
That's
All
right.
space pics come from NASA, the deceiver.
And people that think that this is not growing, these are the people that have my app right now.
Thank you, Elohim Supreme.
Yeah.
Right.
This is worldwide. Look at the UK. And all of these people are on the same page that we're on. We're all researching. We're all finding it. This is going to tip very soon.
It's only growing.
Yeah, it's only growing, and it's amazing what's going on. So, again, it's up to you. You can remain ignorant or you can see the world for what it is, and it literally frees you from the matrix.
AM1, thank you. He said, everyone objectively perceives the world as flat and stationary. We had to be told, believe that it's round and spinning. What we see above us, lights, doesn't have to relate to what we're living on. Exactly. I always give the analogy of a pool table and pool balls. Shrink yourself down. You're standing on the pool table. You look out. What do you see? A bunch of round balls. That doesn't mean you're standing on a round ball. You're on the pool table.
On top of that, Jamar, those lights in the sky are constantly circling our head like a perfect clock. Your grandma saw the same thing.
With one star in the middle that doesn't move, and all the other ones go around it.
Yeah.
All compasses point north. There is no south magnetic pole, like where you can go beyond a certain point, and now magnets point south.
That's why there's been north to south
because north is the center. Okay, the dielectric center of the torus field. Goodness gracious.
I completely.
So hey, let me run an advanced concept here. It's not too advanced. So here's our solar system, and no, not the scale. And if our axis of rotation is up here, so that would point at Polaris. So Polaris is really just a random star in the heliocentric model that is just lined up with our axis of rotation. None of these other planets, if people lived on them, would really care about Polaris because they'd all have their own. So if this planet was pointed this way, the sun would be at the center of its rotation, and this one would have its star up here. So it's just a random star, supposedly. But you have to ask yourself this question: why do all the planets, Juno, which is an asteroid, why do they all go around Polaris? They all circle Polaris. There's no heliocentric explanation for this. There's none.
There will be, Dave.
Yeah. They all circle Polaris because Polaris is at the center. We are stationary. The sky is turning. The stars are fixed in their location.
As it appears.
Yes.
They want you to give up your senses. They want you to ignore what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what is obvious for some sort of education to make you feel like you're smarter, but they've actually dumbed you down with this ignorant Rockefeller nonsense, people. So
what I always say too is that the burden of proof is on them. We're all born into this world, and this is a created world, but we know right away, all little kids would know that they're not moving, they're not spinning, and it looks like the sun and the moon are the same size. It looks like they're going around the sky. It looks like the stars are going around the sky. So the burden of proof is on someone that was taught the globe. You need to prove that. And when you go outside and try to prove these just terrible, terrible things we were taught in school, it turns up that you can't. So how do you not default back to reality of trusting your own senses and stop believing these government entities that have been lying to you and your family about everything, including history.
Because believing what the masses believe is easy, it's safe, and it takes no effort.
Yeah,
Hey, Jamar, I'm in Mexico right now.
Right.
Now you can believe I'm in Mexico, or you can do some research and try to figure it out, right? But the belief is easier. You got to be done, go smoke a joint. Doesn't matter. You're done. And so people love working on belief. You want to become rich, invent something that makes people lazier, right? Like if you got to cook dinner for your family, you got to shop, you got to prepare the food, you got to cook, you got to, set the table, you got to clean up, right? What's easier than that? Fast food, right? Multi-billion dollar business, right? What's easier than fast food? DoorDash. You don't have to get off the couch to get your fast food. And so people want, nothing wrong with wanting the most efficient way to do things, but if people don't want to use their mind, because in school they weren't taught to use their mind, they were taught to memorize and regurgitate what the Rockefellers want them to know. That's it.
What are we looking at behind you? It appears to me that the the horizon is rising to the eye of the observer. There is no curvature because this is not a fish eye lens behind you. And
the bigger problem is
sun looks like it's right there.
Yeah, the sun's right there. It's lighting up this part. It's not as it should light the whole thing up evenly. There's a hot spot which shows that it's local. It's not 93 million miles away. It's small. It's right here. And by the way, every time we get a balloon up this high, the whole Earth is white. How come NASA, when they get up even farther away, they can see vivid colors? Right? It's just the atmosphere just becomes white. Right. It becomes white. And this is as high as we can get. We can't get much higher than that. And I don't think they've gotten higher than maybe 72 miles or something, where the Go Fast rocket appeared to hit something.
Well, all these balloons will pop around that anyways. I mean, for those of you in the audience that still have this belief in magical orbiting satellites up there, satellites are all attached to balloons. They've all been outed as crashing in the middle of nowhere with big balloons. I'm not talking about little balloons. I'm talking about balloons that can carry 2 football stadiums. That's how much weight and size these things can carry. There's a lot of satelloons up there, but they can stay up there for 1-2 years at a time. They bring them down, they repair them, they shoot them back up. I advise people to go watch Level with me, because we actually went to the center where they actually launch balloons from. And one of the NASA employees beelined my camera and told us we can't be filming. And then my buddy Tanner said, no, well, we're in public. There's no privacy in public. And we actually started to befriend him a little, but we got him to admit on camera that he even said, what are you talking about? Satellites without balloons? What do you mean? He doesn't even know the concept of satellites without balloons. He was like, what are you talking about? Because he actually works for them and he launches these balloons all the time. So again, I mean, you could read something on Google that says satellites are orbiting, but I advise everybody right now to look on Google and go to Google Images and look at satellites from space. You will not find anything that you think is real. I don't care who you are. Doesn't matter how into NASA and into space you are. If you're a realistic person, you will look at the results of satellites in space on Google and keep scrolling and go, what the fuck is this? This is all cartoons. Well, it doesn't exist, guys. Period.
If you're just joining us real quick, welcome. I want you to click that like button, share this episode, let people know that we're live right now. And my guests are Sean Hibbler and Flat Earth Dave. There goes footage of the Satelloons right there. We can continue whatever you want to say, but after this, I want to discuss the elephant in the room, which is gravity.
Yes, we're good. Definitely. So think about this. When I was flying to Mexico, another clue that I might be in Mexico. I had internet service. I was uploading videos. I was listening to a TikTok live. I was doing all sorts of stuff with my phone on airplane mode because I was connected to the airplane's Wi-Fi. And every time I put the phone down for a little bit, I pick it up, I would get a little thing that said, hey, let your friends know that you're connected via satellite. So how does that work? how does that work, right? And so here's the airplane and here are cell towers, right? And so just like a car, you just hand off from tower to tower, and that's how it would work. I get this message, stay in touch, letting others know you're available via satellite, right? So if the satellite's up here, of course, not to scale. Let me shrink it down even more. Not to scale. The satellites are 350 miles up. Okay. So we got a satellite up here. We got the airplane here. I'm on the airplane. And this is what they want you to believe, that I connect to their Wi-Fi. It transmits to a tin can that's somehow following that corkscrewing motion of the Earth through the space, curved trajectories, right? It has no power source other than a little solar panel. Right. I was in the solar power industry. There's no way that it can do that. And then it transmits down past the airplane to a cell tower. That's the official story. Let that sink in.
Bad. That's
why wouldn't it just, instead of sending it 350 miles minimum, if there's one right above you, and then it sending it down to a tower, why wouldn't it just go straight to the tower?
Like it does.
Like it does.
And first of all, yeah, I've been in planes where you can't even get signal and stuff like that.
Because you're over the ocean.
I've been hiking where you can't get signal. Where's your magical
I've had satellite radio that loses signal. Why?
As soon as you're 100, 200 miles offshore.
Signal?
Right.
It should never lose signal.
Well, when I go down to the Caribbean, it says the Sirius satellite is going to be offline because of contractual agreements. You know, you only have to be over the United States. No, you only have to be where there's cell towers.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Gemro, real quick. He said, thank you, Gemro. He said, oh, gee, I hate to say it, but they did you how they did Billy Carson. I said it when you had the YouTube guy up here, basically admitting to backdoor him. All that said, I agree that they are certainly hiding truth. Thank you, Gemro. Yeah, I thought about that. You know what I mean?
It was a setup.
Yeah, it definitely was a setup.
How come when they're showing guys doing spacewalks on the space station with the sun lighting up the Earth, so they're in perfect sunlight, you know, we can see things go across the sky and we say, oh, those are satellites, little tiny lights. And somehow the light is getting underneath them, reflecting down to us, and we see it perfectly reflecting, or it's some light moving across the sky that we can't explain. Never once ever do you see one of these thousands of satellites whizzing by underneath the astronauts. Never. Ever.
And that's what I said when I tried to first look into the deception of space and everything. I remember, like I said, I went to NASA's website and I was specifically looking for some POV footage where I can see all the space junk, see these orbiting satellites, and then maybe I would have
even the spinning of the Earth.
None. So there's
isn't the ISS supposed to be going at a terrific speed itself? How are they doing these spacewalks as the ISS is?
Yeah, they're it's relative. They're already going that speed, which that's going to tie into the gravity and the air pressure. So imagine this. You know, you're outside of this thing, walking around, going 17,500 miles an hour in free fall. You're not floating. There's gravity up there, but you're falling at the same rate as the curvature. Okay. And so they're just out there going dipsity-doo, and they're tightening a bolt. Like, why is everything on the outside of the ISS? Like, is everything on the outside of a submarine? Is that supposed
to be the ISS moving, or is that
the ISS? No, that's it. No, well, it's supposed to be both, but they get it wrong all the time. But the ISS isn't in zero gravity. It's just going at the same speed where the free fall equals the curve. So it's just a mind game that it'll fall all the way around, right? But again, if it's in space, free falling, why wouldn't it be accelerating? Right? Free fall is acceleration.
Why are all their panels curved?
And why is the bottom always facing the Earth? What's making it turn? Wouldn't it go like this? Wouldn't it go like that?
And they'll be like,
it's rotating around the Earth.
Space has even though I can't recreate this shit on Earth, but in space, it always makes it go to the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, these are the kind of fucking excuses that they
put a fisheye lens on your camera and play around with it. You'll get the same thing as they just showed you right there.
And since we've been exposing all this, NASA came out with an article last year saying that they may use helium now to help their rockets get into upper orbits. Right? They're going to use helium to get the rockets up there. I contend that all the rockets are helium. They're helium filled. No one is ever on them. No. And on my app, on the more resources page, which is the button that looks like a web, there's a section called rocket balloons, balloon rockets. Bring tissues if you love NASA, if you're going to watch those videos, because you're going to cry.
Justin said it wasn't Godfrey who set you up. It was Dante.
Oh.
I think Dante was the source of it, but
The plot thickens.
Godfrey was complicit. He was complicit in the whole thing. He was the linchpin, because I wouldn't have done it for anybody else but Godfrey. But anyway, Vigaro, thank you. He said GPS won't work if we were spinning. Homes are square feet.
Think about this. All those satellites are moving, we're corkscrewing around, but the dead spot is in the same place every day. Kind of like they're stuck, like cell towers would have a dead spot that would never change. How do these rotating satellites have the same dead spot all the time?
Yeah, no, they're satelloons. So again, people that are saying that there's no satellites is bullshit. No one said that they don't put stuff in the air. They're attached to balloons, and they have the technology to leave them up there for 1-2 years at a time, possibly longer, because again, they don't tell the public all the information that we're supposed to hear or know. So if they're admitting to 1 or 2 years they can stay up there, it could be 5 or 7 years they could stay up there. They're not going to tell you.
Right.
Noteworthy media. I thought you asked a legitimate question about how gravity can hold down the ocean and how birds can fly. Professor Dave resorted to insulting.
Yeah, let's get into electrostatics and density.
Yeah.
And buoyancy.
Yes, please.
So let me ask you a question. How does be the Glober? How does the air stick to the earth without a container?
Well, because you see, there's a different belts. There's the Van Allen belt, and then you got the Versace belt, and then you got different belts. They're
which the moon landing went.
You
The
can't
moon
see
mission
them.
went through, right?
They're almost like a dome, like a firmament, but they're an invisible firmament. You see that we can't prove is there, but that's what keeps the pressurized air, and you're not next to a vacuum because it don't suck things out.
So let me.
Then why name it a vacuum?
I'm going to give you their actual explanation, and when your mind just short circuits and you can't figure it out, you're not stupid. It's stupid. That's why you can't figure it out. Okay, so they say that the air has been stuck to the earth, held on by the gravity's holding it. And because the earth is topographical, with mountains and valleys and stuff, the friction over billions of years has made all of the air spin equally with the earth. Okay,
so the air is moving at 1,000 miles
the air.
Too.
So at the equator, it's moving 1,000 miles an hour. In Russia, and in like northern Russia or Australia, up north, Alaska, it's moving 300 miles an hour, right? Because it's a smaller circle it's making, and all the air just works perfectly. But if we go out and we look on certain days, do a little time lapse, like different layers are going in different directions. So there goes that entire theory. Like this just shows you that we are
layers going in. Why wouldn't it all be going in the same way? And where's the 1,000-mile-an-hour winds? Is what.
And that balloon I showed you was up there for 3.5 hours. So the Earth is spinning to the east at 1,000 miles an hour. So it should have landed
somewhere else.
No, I'm sorry. Spinning to the east this way. So it should have landed out in the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, like 3,000 miles. But it landed east of where it took. So it went up. It outran the spin of the Earth and landed in front of where it took off.
That's because we're not moving. Let's just keep it. That's exactly why that happened. And we're not moving.
I mean, everything, the simple answer is because we're not moving, we're enclosed. And the crazy answers are just mental gymnastics for the globe. So the question you're asking is gravity, right? And let me just show you how crazy flat earthers are. We think that down is down for someone in Australia.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? That's crazy that we think down is the same direction for everybody, because this is not crazy. Down is, this person's antipodal to this person.
I remember that in kindergarten. Yeah, I remember.
So imagine this. We're spinning, right? So this guy's spinning sideways at 1,000 miles an hour. So maybe he would be like lighter because of the spin. But this guy here, he would be kind of pushed over. He'd be kind of pushed sideways because that spin was going to make him go towards the equator, right? But nobody feels any of this because it's nonsense. Common sense, nonsense. So
But that when you don't have graphics like that in front of you, sometimes people can't visualize how ridiculous it is. It is.
Yeah.
Like y'all think people could be stuck. Like if you go back to that graphic, people are stuck to the side of it and to the bottom of it. Like it's just
right.
That's what they want you to believe. And it has to be that. Like if it's a ball, then it has to be a top to the ball, a bottom to the ball, sides to the ball. They're saying we're on the outside of this ball.
Right.
I'm ready to say, hey, it could be on a ball, but we're on the inside of a ball, not on the outside. If y'all love balls so much, I'll give you a ball and say, maybe the bottom is ball-like, and then, there's evidence that there's a firmament. Okay, so maybe that's all a ball, but we're inside the ball. Life exists inside the egg and not on the outside. You've never seen an egg where the yolk is on the outside of the shell. It just doesn't exist.
We could live in something like this. We live on the dielectric plane inside of a double toroid field. So this is the ball, the energetic ball, and we live here on this energetic plane.
And for all we know, there's 500 continents on that landscape there. We don't know. We're not allowed to explore.
Extraterrestrial means extra land, not extra planets.
Gray people coming from the sky. Get the fuck out of here with that dumb shit.
So back to gravity.
Right.
So people don't even know what gravity they're arguing for, because Newtonian gravity, which is mass attracting mass, was replaced for Einsteinian gravity, which is the bending and warping of space-time. Do you know what that is? The bending and warping of space-time?
Let's find out.
Well, you don't know what it is because nobody knows what it is. It's retarded is what it is. Okay. It's like this stupid thing. They show you the trampoline with the bowling ball on it. Right. Why is it going that way? Why doesn't it go that way or that way or that way? Why is it going down? What?
And they'll say gravity.
Yeah. Well, so it's reifying itself. It's the dumbest crap ever. And people just want to believe it. Buoyancy and density. This blimp airship, which used to run all over the world. That's a whole nother thing. Is lighter than the air overall, less dense. This ship is lighter than the water, and this submarine is more dense than the water. So buoyancy and density sort everything else out. And a lot of flat earthers will go, that's all it is, buoyancy and density. But if it was just buoyancy and density, I always say, and this is like a Narnia question, like if I had a handful of rocks and I snapped my fingers and the entire earth disappeared and I let the rocks go, which direction would they go?
Right.
Right. And so that's not you can't really test that because the earth is here, but there is an electrostatic flow downwards, which is scientifically provable, testable, measurable electrostatic flow, right?
Everything's electric.
Everything is electric. The air.
This is why we're filled with water, people.
Yep.
Think about it. Come on now. The earth is 75% water.
So are you.
Right.
And so
we
we
live in this electric system, right? Where the sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode. The salt water carries the current. The land is a salt bridge, and that's a battery. So we live in an electric world, and we're electrical beings. Our hearts don't pump our blood. They charge our blood with electricity. So we're literally giant batteries going around. So here's a little experiment, and those of you that see my stuff, you've seen this before, but we're going to watch it again. Some leftover party balloons, helium, and we got a button we just put on here, and it's just floating 2 inches above the floor, and we got a wire going to a Van de Graaff generator that can change its electrostatic charge. The Earth has a negative charge. Everything above the Earth is a positive charge.
That's why they call it the ground, people.
We add more positive charge to it, it goes down. Do we make it heavier or do we make it more attracted? We discharge it, and it goes up. So there's a test, independent variable, where we're changing the electrostatic charge and we made it heavier. We didn't make it more dense, but maybe it is more dense with the electrostatic charge.
Where's gravity here? What happened to gravity here?
Yeah. And so the opposite of that is if we put a negative charge into something, it goes up.
It will repel. Exactly.
And if we turn it off, it goes down, right? Turn it back on, keep it on, it goes up. Right. So are we defying gravity or are we defying electrostatics? Does a maglev train defy gravity, or is it just using magnetic levitation? This is from MIT. This is called the silent drone. There's no moving parts. It looks like a bunch of milk crates. Right. And it flies. because it's changing its electrostatic charge. The XRT-3B, the triangle aircraft, they admit that it lifts itself and propels itself with electrostatics. Right?
Which is what I think these UFO crafts, which are man-made, but the UFO crafts are reverse engineered based on the electrostatic charge. That's why they can hover, they can move on the drop of a dime, they can float, they can go, because it's all electrostatics. And this is the secret of our universe. Nikola Tesla.
So once you have something in the air, in the positively charged air, it's going to seek that negative charge in order to make that equilibrium. And that's why things don't fall up and so they check go this down.
Out. Yeah. But they say that the electrostatic charge is it's not very strong, but they say gravity is a weak charge. Now, the globalist will admit the electrostatic charge is stronger than gravity. You know how much stronger they say? 10 to the 36 power. That's 36 zeros, Jamar. 36 zeros. Your human mind or mine cannot fathom what that number is. Let me tell you what it is. So, do you know how long 1 trillion seconds is? Just to show you how big a trillion is. Do you know how long it is?
No.
Take a guess. If you guess it within 3 days, I'll give you $100.
1 trillion seconds?
Yeah. I guessed it within 5 days. Go ahead. Quick, no Googling.
2 weeks. I don't know.
Close. 31,000 years. Okay. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. That's only 12 fucking zeros. Okay. Times that times 1,000, times that times 1,000, and times that times 1,000. We're only halfway to how strong the electrostatic charge is. So if the electrostatic charge is that strong, gravity is zero. Made up theory to push a ball model. That's all. They're telling us that gravity is zero by saying the electrostatic charge is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity. They're telling us. We're just too stupid to understand, to go, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Everything's electric. And it's the higher you go up, the more electricity there is.
Yes, and if you don't believe me, anyone has a drone, go on Amazon, buy a roll of the thinnest copper like thread that you can get, and uncoil it, hook it to your drone, have it go up, and have it hanging in the air. Touch it. I'm not doing it. Okay,
y'all gonna learn today.
You get a jolt.
100%.
Rhode Island, thank you. So, what do you guys think of star systems like the Pleiades? Also, I'm assuming globe Earth theory is internationally accepted, but I don't know. Thoughts?
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Stars we cannot see stars at the sizes or distances they tell us. Provable. This is a star. Our consumer optics have outgrown their lies, right? This is a helium and hydrogen ball, 200 trillion miles away, right? And somehow I can zoom in on it and see all this.
Somehow you can zoom in with a $900
and it looks like the bottom of the pool when you know.
It's water frequencies.
Yeah. And so listen, I'm not speaking for anyone else. This is my theory, belief, understanding, what resonates with me. I think stars are angelic. I think they're angels. I think they're perfect, which is why they never move. Okay. Maybe our souls are in the stars, because maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson says we come from the stars. So maybe he's not lying.
Right.
Okay. I think that stars are where our souls reside, and we don't live in a solar system. We live in a soul system, a system the creator made for souls to have these amazing experiences.
And that's why they made it soul lure system.
Yeah, they're trying to steal your soul.
Luring your soul.
And what do I think of star systems like Pleiades? I think a lot of that shit is made up. I think they tell you that there's this system and that system. Again, this is shit that you have to take. If I have to take their word for something, I'm not taking nothing on face value.
Go do your own experiments outside and start understanding God's creation.
Yeah.
Calvin Shaw said you can only make a rainbow using a reflection. That's why you see a rainbow in the sky. We're under glass. Thank you, Calvin Shaw. My brother God level. Real quickly. Peace, Lord. I think Godfrey set you up because he knew it would go viral. Yes, people are very desperate for attention, and they want to get their thing popping. And it's a shame that people that you thought you could trust would sell you out for a couple of views. Well,
check this out.
Congratulations. I hope you're happy.
So this is a rainbow in Canada. It's this tall, right? Australia, which is a little farther away, closer to the closer farther from it's not as far as north as that. So it's on the other side of the equator. I'm just getting dyslexic here. So it's a little lower. And then in Antarctica, it's really low. Like you'd hit your head on it walking underneath. So maybe that's reflecting the shape of whatever toroidal field, whether there's a dome, energetic, whatever it is.
I got a fun fact too, real quick. All rainbows are circles. In case
they are circles.
Yeah.
All circles.
But we see them as a dome, but there are circles.
Yeah. No, well, that's
look at them
exactly
from
because
above.
the horizon it's cut off, just like the buildings 100 miles away. You'll see the bottom because everything in the distance is gonna push it. Dave, if you want to do your thing, that you do this.
What are we talking about?
The perspective where you cover your face and then you bring it back. It's things in the distance are going to go away, and it looks like it goes down. It does not go down. We've zoomed in on so many fucking things and brought it back. It's a lame excuse at this point that things disappear over the horizon.
Yeah. Right. So the horizon, the flat earthers always say the horizon rises to eye level. Guess what? The horizon is thousands of feet above your eye level. Want me to show you? Thousands, but it looks like it's at eye level. That's going to take like 2 minutes, and it's worth the time if you just hang in there.
Down.
Nothing's going down. So this is this is just a coin on a table. Now the Globers will say your camera's below the horizon. That's why it's disappearing. Absolutely right. See this horizon here? That's not at eye level. This is, I would say, 20,000 feet above eye level, and the sun is just going beyond it. So here, let me show you. And again, perspective is everything, right? So we got a guy here. I put this together, right? We got a guy. He's on a dock. The dock's higher than the water because our experience in life tells us that the sun is above the clouds. The boat's on the water. Everything's good, right? Where's the 50-story skyscraper? Can you see it?
No.
Can you see it now?
Oh, yeah.
Take everything out. I'm looking straight up. Okay. So now watch this. I'm in New York City. I'm looking straight up. I got a 50-story skyscraper. Your experience tells me, okay, now I'm looking up. I'm not looking out over a pier. Right. And the sun is like at noon, and at 1 o'clock, it goes beyond the building. Okay. So now is the sun below the horizon, or is it just beyond the building? Easy question. It's beyond the building, right?
Yep.
So here's a perspective grid. Follow me along, people. This isn't hard. You can do this. You have to just think, right? Here's a guy. Here's his eye level. And I'll throw this mountain in here. Let's say this mountain is 3,000 feet above his eye level, right? And the sun's up here. The sun moves away. Is it below the horizon, or is it beyond the mountain? Just like the building. Beyond the mountain. So now he can go up and look over the mountain and see it, or he can go backwards. Let's make him go backwards. Let's say 25 miles. 25 miles away, the top of this mountain is still 3,000 feet above his head, ball or globe or flat, right? That 20 miles, what's there, 300 feet of curvature or whatever. So now you have a better angle to look, and the sun goes away. Now, did it go below the horizon or beyond the mountain? Beyond the mountain.
Yep.
Okay. So now we'll add the sky. So now we have this atmospheric deck. And even if there were no clouds, over distance, the atmosphere becomes opaque. And if you look, the atmosphere is all compressing into the same line.
Yeah. Why are those 10,000 feet in the sky clouds look like they're on the ground?
So look, the sun goes
sky, everybody.
The sun goes beyond this line. This line, the top of the mountain is 3,000 feet. The clouds are 10,000 feet above that. Okay. So that's at least 13,000 feet above his eye level. And that's why the sun appears to go below, but it's going beyond. That's it. It's just going beyond, and it takes its light with it.
Part of another thing that destroys the ball is emergency flight paths. The flight paths they take, especially when emergencies happen, but the fact that they always go east-west or west to east, but they never go north and come back south. You'll never see
north to south circumnavigation where
you'll
you
never see a
south
north
Antarctica and then you pop up and come back to the other side. It's never been done. I think people just assume that it has, but it hasn't. Only east to west, which you can do on both models. So
that's like going around the block.
Out is the point.
Let me show. For those of you that are new, here's the flat Earth. I got my neodymium magnet here. I got my compass, and the compass is pointing towards the magnet. I'm trying to push the compass, airplane or boat, whatever, west, 270 degrees, and I have to keep turning because that compass needs to always point towards the center. So even though my compass says I'm going straight, I'm going in a circle, right? A magnetic circle. Now, if I try to go east, the same thing. The compass always points towards the magnetic north, and I'll go right back to where I started from. East and west are circles. Does this prove the earth is flat? No, because it's the same on a globe. However, if I try to dead reckon, so I say, okay, there's 270 west. As soon as I start moving, I'm heading south. I'm heading away from the center.
Anything away from the north is south.
Yeah. And the magnet is not strong enough to turn the compass right there, but all of these lines are south. That's south. That's south. That's south. Now, if I go south this way, I'm not going to pop up over here. If I go south from Santiago,
this is not a game of Pac-Man.
I'm not going to end up in Australia. So if I go this way, I'm just going to go south. South is a straight line. Now, north is a straight line. I'm going north, 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 north. And as I pass the North Pole, look, the compass just did a 180. And even though I'm going in the same direction, I'm going north. All straight lines go to Antarctica.
Yep. You walk in a straight line, you'll be in Antarctica in no time.
Excuse me. And you were talking about flight routes. Let me just show you one flight route. I mean, we can do 100 flight routes, but this is the best. This is the best one. New Zealand, which is right off of Australia. So Australia is over here. Argentina. Now, FlightAware in South America. FlightAware says this is the fastest route. This is the Great Circle route, whatever. I question that. I'm like, wouldn't that be quicker? But whatever. Okay. So that's just this long. Let's look at the real flight route. This is the real flight route. It goes from New Zealand across the equator to San Francisco to Texas, and then all the way back down to Argentina. Wait, why would you ever have to cross the equator going from two southern airports or two northern airports? You would never have to go in the north. There's no two northern airports. Any combination of all the airports in the world in the north, no plane ever goes below the equator. None ever, because it doesn't make sense. But in the south, they do shit like this all the time. But if we look at it on a flat earth, what did your mom teach you? Shortest distance between 2 points?
Straight line.
New Zealand, San Francisco, Houston, Texas, Argentina.
Correct.
Yeah. And we're the retards.
Yeah, I fly all the time. As a filmmaker, I'm always flying, and it's a habit that when I leave the airplane, I have to talk to the pilot. And I would say about 8 out of 10 pilots know it's flat. They know. Yep. And they admit that they have nothing to do with curvature and nothing to do with it.
That would be 4 out of 5.
Gyroscope in there. It's literally a gyroscope in there. Yeah. And they have the only angle the airplane goes is 0.2 degrees up once in a while. They never come down unless they're landing, and you feel that. You'll wake up.
So here's the World Cup. They had so people say, well, they go there because that's where their flight routes go, and they have hubs there. They got to change passengers. You make excuses all you want. The Buenos Aires team that won the World Cup had their own plane, their own pilot, private plane. So they won. They want to go home. They went to Rome to get fuel. That doesn't seem much closer to Buenos Aires. Right? They went to Rome to get fuel. And the joke was, they wanted to go see the Pope, right? But if you look at it on a flat earth map, Doha, Rome, no place to get gas in the middle of the ocean, and Buenos Aires. Another straight line. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Amazing. Right? Going from Auckland to Lima, Peru. These people want to go to Peru, but they got to go to friggin' Los Angeles first. Right? But look at it here. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Simple.
Wow.
Simple.
And this is the map that pilots use, no? I mean, isn't that a similar map pilots use? My
favorite one is this. From Hong Kong, they were going to the UK, 12-hour flight, and 4 hours into the flight, right about here, the mother, they're traveling with little kids and the husband, mother died suddenly. Plane is full. They're keeping her in a seat. She's covered in the sheet. You have to sit next to your mother for 8 more hours before they finally landed in Germany.
Wow.
Right? Imagine sitting next to your mother for 8 hours, let alone if she's dead. Okay.
Why did they just hurry up and land?
Okay. Yeah. Why did they hurry up and land? And here's the reason. Because 4 hours into the flight, they were over Russia. 2 things would happen. If they landed in Russia, Russia would probably be very helpful, and that could spark world peace. We can't have that. But the more important thing is people go, why the fuck are you over Russia? And then people like Sean and I would come out and say, look, this proves flat earth. So they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
Well, that's a good point, man. Because if they landed in Russia, everybody in the plane would be like, "I thought
How'd
we
you
were
get
going
there?
to
Yeah.
Germany. Why are we in Russia? Why, it's not on the way. Germany's not." I mean, that's a good
Yeah.
point, man.
It's a really good point. And there's so many of these things. So many. This is just in the app, just type in Southern Flights, and here's the route we were just talking about. This is a great one to show people. You can send it to them, just bam, send it to people. And people say, "What about this? What about that?" Everything is at your fingertips. You know, and what if flat earthers want to do?
Weird arch on flights, like it's like this weird thing. You're going from here to here. It's like that doesn't make sense.
That funny arch, because that arch is to make you feel like if there's a curve, like
Yeah, which you can look at your fucking airplane window and know there's no curve. Like, and then now they always move the goalposts. Yeah, oh, you got to be higher. You have to be higher. What was that one, Dave? It was Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about. I think it was about 60 or 70 miles up. And even with 70 miles up, he said, "Oh, that's too. That you got to be higher to see the curve."
Yeah, they keep moving. First they said
2 dimes above
First
the ball.
they said you can't see it from an airplane. They can see it from an airplane, and we said you can't. So then they showed the Mythbusters on a MiG fighter at 70,000 feet, but one of the cameras that was looking at the back wasn't fisheye, and it shows the horizon perfectly flat. Then he goes, "Oh, you have to go to the ISS." Well, then the ISS, is showing different amounts of curvature, and then just every time they just move the globe post, right? They constantly move the globe post, and they do it all the time. Like, we have absolute proof that the Earth doesn't tilt or wobble or flying through space, which was the Georgia Guidestones. You're familiar with that, right?
Yes, sir.
So for those of you, I'm just going to assume everyone knows what the Georgia Guidestones are. There were a monument built in 1981 in Georgia, and they besides having the 10 Commandments of the world on it, they were an astronomical observatory where there was a hole right here about the thickness of a straw, and you put your eye up to it and you can see Polaris all the time. All times. Polaris time lapse, circles around, and they say, well, even though we're moving 4.4 billion miles a year, Polaris is so far away that even after billions of years, it doesn't move, right? Actually, they do say that the wobble of the Earth does change. That the pyramid of Giza has a shaft that points at Polaris, and they say, well, when it was built, it pointed towards Thuban, right? Now it points towards Polaris. So we can't argue that because we weren't there, right? But we were here when this was built, right? So if the Earth is wobbling, as they tell us, that it moves 1 degree every 76 years. So it was up for over 40 years, which means it's moved over a half a degree.
That would have been out of the hole.
Half a degree is 1.5 moon widths, 1.5 full moon widths. So it would have been way out of the hole, but it was still there. So we made videos, and they were going viral, and people the Globers had no answer. And so guess what happened? Boom. A terrorist destroyed it. 3 hours later, the bulldozers were there. They stole the time capsule, cleaned up the whole thing, and there was no investigation.
Wow.
Unknown caller.
Wow.
Everything around me, green, get the money, dollar bill, yo. Cash rules, everything around me, green, get the money.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's crazy that they destroyed it, and no one even knew about the destruction of it. I haven't heard about any investigations. No one's been arrested. That's because they want to blow that shit up. That shit proves that Polaris doesn't move, and the stars, sun, moon, and stars go around and around and around and around it. I mean, there's like one of the last pieces of evidence that we can go physically to prove this shit that they built. They built it, and they took it down because it proves it. I mean,
when you bring this up to Globers, a lot of times they go, "Well, what about Stonehenge?" Stonehenge was built in the 1950s. Okay, we have the videos of it being built in the 1950s, exactly. and it's everything's lies. The CIA director said, once everything the Americans believe is a lie, we'll know our job is done. When I heard that years ago, I was like, everything? Come on, right? And now I realize it's everything. Oops.
And see, this is what people don't understand. This is what people don't want to accept. They're like, well, why would they lie about the shape of the Earth? And, how does that affect me and all this type of shit? Like, what does it matter if it's a ball or if it's flat? I mean, to me, that's like saying, what does it matter to be free or a slave? Like, you know what I mean?
What does it matter to have God's creation versus Satan's lie? I mean, does that make a difference to anyone? I mean, this is God's creation.
I mean, even if you don't believe in God or Satan and all of this type of shit, I mean, at the very least, flat earth leads you down the road of free energy. Okay. Where, shit, we don't need to be out here paying all these electric bills and this and that and blah 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 blah. Like
imagine if you had a device the size of your fist that heats your house to any temperature you want in the winter, cools your house so there's icicles on the windows, and it's clean and it works for generations. Right? It also powers your car so you can drive endlessly. Imagine if you had that. Would that change your life?
That would be amazing.
That's just the beginning, right?
And for those that are questioning the fact that we haven't addressed what's underneath the earth, Dave, if you want to pull the meme up, but what are we taught in school? We're taught the Earth's the ball. There's a magma core that's 4,000 miles in. Listen, the record's what, 7.6, 7.9 miles down.
They don't know what's at the core of this shit.
So there's a hole in Russia
that they tell you.
Yeah, the core.
There's a hole in Russia that can't determine a fucking thing. They don't even know what's under us, but yet they show us this in kindergarten and want us to just blindly believe.
When they were drilling the hole, they were using some sort of ground penetrating radar. They said, okay, there's no more rocks. They hit more rocks. Okay, there's no more water. They hit more water. So it didn't work. So the amount they dug, if this was a Macintosh apple, Macintosh have very thin skin, right? They drilled a quarter of the way through the skin. They were wrong every step of the way, but then they know what's in the core, right? And they tell us a molten magnetic core. There's a thing called the Curie point. Any magnet, without exception, when you heat it, before it melts, it loses all its magnetism. But we have a molten magnetic core, okay?
Yeah, so I don't want to. I read it. I read just a few comments for 1 second. I'm like, let me take a look. Someone was talking about underneath the earth, and we don't know what's underneath. They don't know. They dug down 7.5 miles.
Less than 8 miles.
Less than 8 miles. They dug down less. This is the Guinness Book of World Records, guys.
Well, what makes them believe that molten shit is volcanoes? They're like, well, then how do you explain volcanoes?
Yeah, but Jamar, what makes them believe that the globe models got it accurate with 4,000 miles of research, but they only admit to 7.8 miles down? So everything below 7.8 miles is complete bullshit. Is literal bullshit. There is no magma core. All of that is fake. How can you have a magma core 4,000 miles into the ball when they've only tested 7.8 miles down and they couldn't even penetrate it? It's impenetrable beneath us. It's impenetrable above us. We can't get out that way. We can't get out this way. It is fixed in its position. It's something that was created. We're not going to be able to get down or get up above this shit. This is why they have to fake space. This is why they fake it.
And it's funny. Some people say they don't believe in a mystery God, but they believe in this shit. It's just as hilarious.
The biggest religion in the world, the two biggest religions are atheism and the globe earth. They take the most amount of faith in the most crazy belief system of all. That's it. Now, listen, when I say there's a creator, that's all I'm saying. You figure out who the creator is, what your relationship is. That's yours.
A creator, though. Like, there's obviously a creator with us, with the way ecosystems work, the way the synchronicity that happens in nature, and the way things grow.
If you were walking through the middle of the jungle, you're brand new on Earth, you know nothing. You're walking in the jungle, and you come across a skyscraper building, 100 stories tall. There's a builder. You do. You don't know who it is. You don't know anything. You just see it. It's like, okay, somebody created this. And that's what the earth is. The earth is, it was intelligently designed. That's it. And there's so much evidence, just shifting just a little bit. On my website, you can find Sean's movie. You're in Old World Order,
yes, sir.
Right? It's on the app also. If you're new to this, watch Old World Order. It'll change your life forever. And then after you get off there, watch My Lunch Break by Kenny. He's amazing. Blow your mind. And The Rabbit Hole is been endless, so you can jump in head first.
Yeah, I think most of your audience would agree that history is a lie, Jamar, right?
I mean, you know,
believe in
depends who's
mainstream
here. I
rock
don't think
players.
everybody that's here today is all necessarily regulars. There are a lot of regulars, but I know a lot of people came.
I'm sure your regulars know history is bullshit.
Oh yeah, melanin. Thank you, Jim Rowe. Again, he said melanin is a biocompatible, naturally occurring macromolecule that acts semiconductor of electricity. Think about that as long as you need to.
Good point.
Thank you, Jim Rowe. Hip Hop's in 72 said Godfrey didn't sell you out. You asked for a debate. That wasn't a debate though. That was a setup. Like that was usually in the debate you have somebody who's neutral. You know what I mean? Yeah, but everybody in that room was in on some shit. They were conspiring, and it's all good. We're gonna deal with it. Mike TV, thank you. He said that sweater is fresh as fuck. Where'd you get it, Jamar? Man, these indigenous originals. I think go check them out on Instagram.
You were rocking indigenous, I believe, in Lord Order.
Yeah, I was actually. Yeah. Shout out to my people at Indigenous Originals. They got shit I like.
A lot of people saw that. A lot of people saw that gear, Indigenous.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And listen, and I just looked out. I don't even know them like that. AM1, thank you. Said, quick crash course on how a flat earth model could work. Okay. I guess that's what they want.
I guess they're looking at it right now in a sense.
Right. They want a quick crash course on flat earth.
You want to do the tropics, Dave? Maybe go through the tropics on your app and the summer.
Sure, absolutely. Basic. So wherever the sun is, the sky's a perfect clock. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. So if I wait until the sun got here and called my friend PK up in Sydney, he'd say the sun was right above him and it was noon. Mm-hmm. And so there's 24 time zones. We'll look at time zones in a second. And so wherever the sun is, so the sun keeps track of the hours and the days. Right. And the moon, I'll speed it up. The moon gets lapped by the sun about every 29 days. So the moon's phase, its position, keep track of the weeks and the months. There used to be 13 months of 28 days and then plus 1 day to reset the year, 365. So the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. And then if I turn
the
on
lunar moon is 354, correct? Yes.
354.
Yeah.
The lunar
year.
The lunar year. Okay. Yeah. I don't know that number, but the stars are going slightly faster than the sun. So they lap the sun every 365 times around. So the sun will drift backwards through each zodiac for about a month. And so the stars keep track of the seasons and the years, right? The sky is a perfect clock. We have these alignments. I think we're having an alignment of all the planets like any day now, or we just had it. Why doesn't the gravity just pull us all into a ball? Why doesn't things get yanked out? The three body problem, they can't even figure that out. And we have all of these alignments, but the sky is the most perfect clock in the world. It's more perfect than the finest watch, the finest Swiss watch, because all watches in time are based off of the sky clock, right? You can't have that unless you're in a system. There's a video called The Mechanical Realm about the Antikythera mechanism that was found underwater off of Greece. And it's over 2,000 or 3,000 years old, and it perfectly predicts on a flat earth the position of all of the stars and the planets and the sun and the eclipses. It's amazing. And so again, you're not going to be taught this in school. Google's
real
not
quick,
Dave.
Can you jump the sun to another tropic so people can just?
Oh yeah. So the way the seasons work, So let me go. So in here, this yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer, and out here is the Tropic of Capricorn. We just passed the Tropic of Capricorn. So the sun, I will jump forward a month at a time. So we're into January, February, March, April, May, June. In June, the sun's already well in here. I went a little past it. All right. But in June, it's right here. And so we have our inner northern winter because the sun is closer to us.
Summer.
Right. And so the sun in between the two tropics, it's always warm there because the sun passes over you twice. It's never far away. So right now, so we're in July, August, September, October, November, December. So in December, the sun's all the way out here. And so that's why we're freezing our butts off here in the States, because the sun is far away, right? So seasons actually prove the flat earth. Let me just show you real quick an analogy that everybody will be able to understand. So here is, I can find it. So we're outside, we're sitting outside and it's freezing cold. And somebody comes out with a heat lamp and holds it, 15 feet over our head or 10 feet overhead. And so this person's warm and this person's colder because the sun's farther away. This person sees the sun directly above them. This person sees it at a 45-degree angle, lower in the sky, farther away.
It's like
so
now
this
in winter.
yeah. So this person's going to walk over, and this person is seeing the sun get lower, and this person's seeing it get higher, even though it's at the same height. It's all perspective. This person's warm, summer. This person's cold, farther, lower sun. That's exactly how it works. The whole tilted, wobbling ball is stupid because in the heliocentric model, in June, the sun is closer to the earth than it is in December. But in June in Connecticut, when I see the sun on the horizon in the morning, I could feel the heat. I can get a suntan. But in December at noon, when the sun is as high as it is in the sky for the day, I can look at it and I can't even feel the heat on my face. But it's closer and higher. So
their model's ass backwards.
Most people can't even wrap their mind around that because there's too many things to think about. It's really very simple if you actually use your brain. People that when they first hear about flat earth, it's like going to the gym for the first time in 10 years. You get sore because your muscles aren't used to actually working. You have a brain that can do amazing things. This isn't amazing. This is basic, but they've literally atrophied our brains so people are unable to think. People are unable to think.
Everybody's brain with bullshit for so long that it's so confusing to the normal person.
When I first got into this, I realized how much I thought I knew about the globe and all of that, but really we didn't.
You don't know anything.
They gave us this shit in third grade,
right?
And we don't remember all these fucking terms and all this bullshit because, again, I could almost remember myself feeling like, even back then, like this doesn't fully make sense. But then you're thinking, the scientists, they know better. You know what I mean? They're smarter than the teacher. A scientist is supposed to be smarter than a regular teacher. So if a scientist is telling the teacher this and the teacher believes it, who am I to go against them?
Look, here's another example.
They're the authorities.
We're on a ball, right? And so let's say this is, 1,000 miles, whatever. It doesn't matter. The sun's 93 million miles away in the morning, okay? And it's colder. And then over here, it's 93 million miles away and it's warmer. And in the evening, it's 93 million miles away and it's colder, right? But on a flat earth, we have a local but farther sun. It's colder. Whoops, sorry. At noon, we have a closer, much shorter distance.
You get hot.
Sun, and it's warmer, and then it moves away and it gets colder again.
That proves a local light. That proves a local sun.
Right.
And this is your heat lamp.
What about the rays of the sun that can be traced back to its source?
Right.
Can we talk about crepuscular rays for a second?
Like these puppies right here. Now, Professor Dave will say, this is just perspective. Well, there is a truth that perspective will make things splay out or go together like rail tracks. But look, these are splaying out as they're coming towards us. You can claim that's perspective, but they're also going away from us and splaying out. When perspective is actually trying to squeeze them together, but they're still splaying out. This tells you that this is a local sun right up there, right? You can't argue this. You can.
Again, like you said, that's why when it's noon right above your head, you're sweating your balls off. But yet at 6:30 p.m. in the summer, 7 o'clock in the summer, you start cooling down. Why are you cooling down? The same sun is right fucking there, still 93 million miles away, apparently. Right. But yet you're losing 20 degrees. It's because it's a local light moving across. And it's going to get colder as it goes away.
And it's that is common sense, right?
So check this out. Also, they say, well, a flat earth would be light all the time because you got a light, it would never set. Well, no, because you don't understand perspective and the atmosphere becomes opaque. Everything goes into that horizon, that horizontal eye zone, the horizon.
Horizontal.
So, and they want you to believe that light travels for billions and billions and billions of years. No, light travels, it's light doesn't go far at all. Check this out. This is on a cruise ship, right? daylight and night side by side. When he looked back, it's daylight over here, right? And then when he looks forward, right? When he looks forward, I'll just fast forward a little bit. He goes back. And
I've seen this myself too.
And it's dark. I've seen this myself too. It happens in September where I live a lot.
I've seen this on the Hudson, on the Hudson River.
There you go, man. I'm on the Long Island Sound.
And plus the moon is following the sun's path. How does that work on a globe? I thought the moon was a rock that was going around the earth and the sun is this distant thing. They're fucking following each other every day of your life. You can go out and look. I mean, they're literally on the same path. You can look at the stars. They're always traveling on the same path.
You could also follow the path of the sun.
Yep.
As it makes, what's it called? The
analemma.
The analemma, right? Now, you can time lapse that and see it make that almost figure eight type of shape. Now, how could you photograph that if the earth is the one doing that? You see what I'm saying? Like if we
people think they're falling backwards at the speed of a bullet, the sun's not moving, they're falling backwards, and that's why it's like I mean, I don't know, you can't fix stupid.
Yeah. And it makes a bigger circle over the south because in the south it's moving faster.
Look at this, people.
It's making a bigger circle. So this is the sun at noon every day. It's showing you the position of the sun at noon. And so where it crosses over, that would be the equinox. That's the solstice right there where it turns around. And there's the equinox. So it's making this bigger circle in the same amount of time as it does the smaller circle. So there's the winter equinox, the December equinox. Comes around.
And it goes lower and higher in the sky by 1 degree.
And anyone can do this experiment for a full year, every day. Same thing. I with the stars. You could take
when it gets all the way to the bottom, that's the death of the sun. When it gets all the way to the bottom, and then here Christ rises. That's
and Jamar, as you know, and Dave obviously knows, you could take a picture tonight. So it's January 15th. Okay, go outside tonight when it's clear. Hopefully they're not spraying chemtrails. But if it's a clear sky tonight, take a picture, mark an X in your driveway where you're standing. Take a picture of the sky, of all the stars, exactly where they are. If you come back a year later and take another picture, the same day, same night, same
every
time,
star will be in the same place.
Same
but
exactly.
yet we're in a beehive going 4 directions, spinning around. The stars are fixed and they're rotating around your head. Everybody's ancestors saw the exact same process.
How about this?
I don't get the laziness.
How about this? So here we have December, and so right here is noon, and if you're looking that way, you see all the stars over here. Okay, and these people here, this is noon, and the sun is directly over them. 6 months later, you're over here, and now night is that way. So at midnight, you can look that way and see the same stars that they saw over here.
Yeah, you don't see a new set of stars, man. It's the same
now,
one.
there are some stars that you don't see at different seasons because of the amount of daylight you have, and they're hidden in the daylight. But you can see most of the same stars. It's amazing.
Yeah.
S said, the first thing I found strange is seeing sun rays in the shape of a triangle. And do you have a drawing of the curvature you could see at 72 miles? I guess they want the curvature chart, maybe the formula, so they can see that. Did y'all do the curvature formula and why you can see the Chicago skyline from Michigan?
Correct. Which is what, 60 miles away, give or take?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And it's only a couple days a year, usually. I mean, it's got to be a very, very clear day. I covered this in my film, The Next Level. It's got to be very clear. And you can see the Chicago skyline. It makes no sense if you live on a ball. None. But no matter how many facts and experiments we do, they just want to resort back to laziness and say, yeah, well, they didn't lie to me in school. Fuck off. And it's like, no, they did lie to you in school. They lied to you in school about a lot of things. Not just
here's the picture you're talking about, but I'm going to show you a time lapse. Ready? So if you look carefully, you can see this building. I'll hold my finger on it. This tall building here. Now you'll notice it's not moving. This is like almost a 24-hour time lapse. And the changing conditions, heat, humidity, this should be wobbling all over the place. It should be disappearing. We even had guys go there. They could see it, and they drove in a boat across the lake, and that was it. So it never moves, right? It never moves. And they went across, keeping it in the camera the whole time, and it never disappeared. If it was a mirage, it would disappear at some point, but it didn't.
Yeah, it's not a mirage.
Right there. It's right there.
Did you show them the curvature formula?
I'll show you the curvature.
3 inches per mile squared, which is, again, this is not something that flat earthers came up with. This is
right.
This is public information to back your globe
formula.
This is what they say.
Yeah.
We didn't make this shit up. We just debunked it.
Here's Richard. This was on the news recently. Richard Branson's space plane on its way back to Earth, 50 miles up.
Yeah,
there
flat. You go. 50 miles up.
50 miles up.
Curve? Airplanes go what? 6 miles up, and people are screaming curve. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
So everybody remembers the Pythagorean theorem in school. They don't know what they use it for, but it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we look here at the Pythagorean theorem, and back to your algebra, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we have a guy on the ball, and we draw a line straight out, let's say not the scale, let's say it's 100 miles, right? So the center of the earth, right? So we can figure out what this length is, right? And this would be the drop would be from here to here. So the radius of the earth, they tell us, is 3963. And let's just say this is 100 miles. And we could do the calculations and figure out what the hypotenuse is. And it comes out to 3,964. Is that feet? Or no, miles. And then we subtract up on the radius, and it equals 1.265 miles of drop, right? So 1.2615 miles, which is 6,660 feet. Okay, so 100 miles, there should be 6,600. It's over a mile, right? 5,280 is a mile. And
there's that 666 right there.
Yeah, the 666 is
there. When you're dealing with the devil's math when it comes up like that.
Yeah, when you look at all of the stuff, freeze frame this, people. Take a screenshot.
Hey, let me throw one into this real quick.
Yeah.
You ever notice when NASA's doing their rocket launches, they say T minus NASA?
Right.
T minus NASA. Take the T out of NASA. That's Satan.
Right. And National Aeronautics and Space Administration, if you do a reverse count where Z is 1 and 26 is A, 666. Just a coincidence, though, right?
Sure, yeah.
And then what about that something with the tilt, with the access comes up to
66.6.
66.6. Come on, y'all. We not fucking making this shit up, y'all.
And this is a fifth grade worksheet somebody gave me that said the Earth is 6.6 sextillion pounds or whatever it is. Again, it's small, but 666 sextillion.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a coincidence, right?
Sextillion. Mike TV said many indigenous tribes view the earth as flat, like the Cherokees, floating island held by sky cords of the Mayas, flat plain with 4 directions centered on the sacred ceiba tree. Thank you, Mike T. Rob Browder, thank you. Sadat's missing tooth is back. He said, invite David Farina to this live stream.
No, thank you.
Yeah, fuck that bitch ass.
That's because I'm scared. I'm a little scaredy cat. I'm scared of that asshole.
Like, I heard he was an agent, but that's some shit.
Well, he's promoted like an agent.
Mike TV, thank you. He said Aboriginal Australians saw Earth as a flat plane. Dogon viewed it as flat, tied to celestial myths. Norse believed in flat discs surrounded by ocean, and Mesopotamians saw it floating in a cosmic.
Again, you believe our ancients, or do you believe Rockefeller? Do you believe our ancients, or do you believe Satanists?
Mike TV's back once more. He said ancient Egyptian symbolism often depicted the earth as a flat plane with the sky arched above. Yes, Newton Geb. It was supported by the god Shu. Those that can build pyramids would know if earth is a globe or not. Exactly. Thank you, Mike TV. I really appreciate you. like I said, everybody, if you're just joining us, I'm here with Sean Hibbler and Flat Earth Dave, and we're just going over, some flat earth facts, man. Like, y'all want to try to ridicule me about, being a flat earther. Like, I'm a bad person. But yeah.
You're against the government, Jamar? You're
What's that?
against Rockefeller and the government? You're against Satanists? Man, you must be a bad guy, bro. Damn.
Yeah,
Hey, let me show you a little NASA fakery here. So this is the 0G plane up here, and this is also the 0G plane. It kind of looks like the International Space Station,
Fake
right? They say this is the space station. Maybe I get confused sometimes because they both look the same. But check this out. This was on a live. This was years ago. And it was on a live news broadcast. They're like, we're going to have a short visit with the satellite time with the space station. And they're like, okay, they're coming in now. And while they were talking to them, all of a sudden they slammed against the wall, right? It cut away. Like they were talking to them for like 20 seconds. And then it slammed into the wall. And they're like, they cut away. And they're like, this was a an unexpected shift in the space station, right? So this is a 0G plane where they do this parabolic arc. Excuse me. And when the parabolic arc over, it crashes. They crash to the ground. So this is the parabolic plane. Now we're going to compare this to the space station. Watch what happens. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees.
Match. Yeah.
It's a perfect match. But watch the guy in the foreground. See this roll of duct tape and something else? He catches it with one hand like a boss, like he's done it 50 times before. Okay. Look, boom, boom. He catches two things with one hand, like he's done it 1,000,000 times.
And just so people are not confused, the one on the right is done, 10,000 feet in the air, 20,000 feet in the air?
Yeah, they take an air.
That's real. It's not a conspiracy. They'll tell you.
Do a parabolic arc.
Correct.
And you get
so
like
the one on
40
the right
seconds
is
of weight.
literally right above your head, real close to you. They're doing 0G test planes. They came down. Yep. Why is it looking exactly the same as the ISS is supposed to be 200-300 miles up in the air? Because they're not 300 miles up in the sky.
Bandwidth.
They're also doing it the same way.
Okay, let's talk about another elephant in the room, man, because I know that people are going to be bringing this up. I keep hearing about this goddamn 24-hour sun in Antarctica, man. What is this all about? What's going on with that, man?
So I'll give you the short, and there's more and more information coming out. Now, we flat earthers have said there is no circling sun in Antarctica because although we'd never gone there, we just looking at the way we think the sun works, there are some flat earthers that said there is a circling sun, and it was been a contentious argument for a long time. But there's been tons of evidence that they're expecting NASA to tell the truth all of a sudden after all they're lying is kind of insanity. But these guys went and they filmed a circling sun. Now the question is, a lot of flat earthers are like, these guys are shills, they're paid agents. That's not the case, right? The question is, what did they film? And all I want to say is stand by. We're finding out what they filmed. But the bottom line is, whether the sun circles in Antarctica or not, it doesn't change the physical shape of the Earth. The way I look at it is, you want to tell me that the movement of that light in the sky that we call the sun, that you say is a helium and hydrogen ball of gas in a space vacuum. First, helium and hydrogen defy gravity. And gases violently fill the available space. But somehow in space, helium and hydrogen collapse upon themselves, create gravity, hold on to Pluto, ignore our moon and all the other moons in between. And then you want to tell me that the movement of that Narnia object changes the physical measurements of the floor? We don't understand the heavens. We're trying to understand it. And if there's a circling sun or not, it just tells us how well we understand the heavens above. And that's it.
I personally don't think that sun in the sky was legit, but again, we're in the beginning processes of trying to figure all this out. It just happened recently. We got a lot of stuff brewing right now. I don't want to prematurely pop some information, so it's coming soon, though, guys. Trust me.
Just like you have some working on some things, we're working on some things, my brother.
You know, it's kind of freaky. I'm looking at the numbers, right? Earlier, we had like 777 people. Right now, there's 888. Freaky numbers. Oh, those are angel numbers. Those are freaky numbers right there.
Those are angel
like,
numbers. I love it.
those
I
are
love it. I
angel
have
numbers,
888.
yeah.
I'm looking at it. Yeah. Yep. Now it's 895.
Yeah, but we seen it when we need to see it. Hold up, what's this right here? Oh, Mike TV, shout out a new member. You might be the first member because I just actually opened the membership on this channel. And hey, if you want to join the channel, feel free. We got different levels of membership, and I'm gonna definitely be engaging with my members, and y'all are gonna be getting special perks and special videos that everybody else doesn't get to see. So Mike TV, my guy. Thank you, my brother. And shout out to any other members that are thinking about being a member right now. Runaway Slave, he said, the earth is flat. The earth is round. Who gives a shit? I still got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
none of us will never go to outer space to find out.
Yeah.
Rockefeller loves you. The Rockefeller family loves this lady.
I love it.
Yeah. What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. That's what they want you. That's where they want you. Right. And the reason you have to go to work because you're not realizing what this place is. If we all woke up to flat earth, we take our power back, right? They're robbing us in every way possible, right? They're hiding all of our technology. They're hiding our history. They're hiding everything. So what difference does it make? It makes all the difference in the world. And by the way, I said the same thing. What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday.
Like, why would you want to get up and go to work when all you got to do is be thankful to your creator, right? Who food comes out the ground. It grows. Yeah. Money don't grow on trees, but food does. Yeah. If you want to eat meat, well, then food running across right past you. Like, there's so much land out there. We don't all need to be cooped up in these apartments and, people having to pay for
rent
and even, acreage and all this type of stuff. All of that stuff was created for us. If you want to be in a tropical environment, there's plenty of places on this planet Earth you can go and have your own little area just to yourself if you want to. If you want to bring people with you, cool. But we don't have to be a slave to none of this shit if we knew the truth about where we're at, how
free energy.
Yeah, how everything works and how we're supposed to be working with it. In order to enhance ourselves to where we're truly moving at that God level that we should be moving at. You see,
there's a great video on my channel, which is DITRH. It's initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. You can go to flatearthdave.com and you'll see all my social media there. Find it. It's called Why the Lie by Laura Nina. It's a 10-minute video. It'll bring tears to your eyes. It's amazing. And basically the bottom line is if you play on their ball field, you have to play by their ball field rules, right? They make their laws based on their world, not God's world. If they acknowledge that the earth is flat, then they can only make laws that are in line with divine law, with natural law. So they have us on their...
Go ahead.
Yeah, good. They have us on their fake world, playing with their ball field rules, using their fake money, and they're controlling everything. They're hiding everything. We give NASA $74 million a day, right? And then what have they done for us other than just give us stupid fake videos? Nothing.
And part of my mistake was going on that platform, not fully being educated in their ball field rules. Like, I have studied this so much that when they ask me stupid little questions about how they use their language to lie about this subject, it just had me at a point that I just it wasn't a good look.
Well, he's an
Yeah.
actor again. He's not a professor. He says his name's
I know.
Professor Dave. He's not
As
a
soon as they
professor.
said a science communicator, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, he has people write him scripts and study his scripts. He's a bitch.
Anybody who can talk about science is a science communicator. Like if I communicate science to anyone, I'm a science communicator. What is that? That's not even a real thing.
They call flat earthers science deniers. We love science. We hold science feet to the fire. They're pseudoscience. There's nothing about astronomy that's scientific.
What's the meaning of pseudoscience, Sean?
Say it again, sorry.
I said, what's the meaning of pseudoscience?
Pseudoscience, a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on the scientific method, which the scientific method is never relevant with a globe model. There's not 7 of your peers going to go out outside to prove that the earth is moving or rotating. There are no tests that prove this. If there were, there'd be modern day scientists and 7 of their peers during the scientific method proving these things, shutting us all up. The reason being the scientific method works with a flat earth, because anything that Dave showed you, especially with from testing the moonlight is cold to seeing the sun in the sky travel and the sun actually is glowing at the sunset. It's just shining on the clouds around it. It's a local light, the full moon shining on the local clouds. These are, again, the scientific method can be applied. You and 7 of your peers can go out there and get the same results. What tests are globers doing? What are they actually doing with their peers running the scientific method to prove anything we were taught in kindergarten? There's none. So they are pseudoscience believers, and they get paid probably really good money to keep pushing this. These are agents.
I'll take the spin out of it, people. Like, just give me a ball. Forget the spin part. Just give me a ball where the water sticks to the ball all the way around. And I'm not talking about saturation. I'm talking about how they say the globe is, and whatever
air pressure next to no container.
If you gotta create little concave things in the ball, because that'll keep the water in it at the top parts. But what about when it gets to the side and the bottom and all of that type of stuff? How are you going to make that water stick all the way around? Please show me a working model. Flat Dave got 3 Bitcoins for you right now. If you can prove this shit. So y'all want to laugh all you want, but
go prove it.
Put up real money. Yes, go prove it. Sidewalk Publishing. The sun undergoes a form of cell division and makes another sun. That's why you see it for 24 hours. I'm not sure about that, brother.
Yeah, interesting. Show me some proof. Show me some evidence.
First time I heard.
I'm not sure what it means
like that. But thank you, Pi McDonald. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, I don't want
to show you this.
Certain realms. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're looking up at the sun here, and this is actually a clear day. We're just zoomed in, and the sun kind of just fades out. It doesn't go down. It stops going down, and it fades out. Okay. It just fades out. I call this the sun fade out. So the sun was going down, 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 and then it stops. Right now, my friends at the beach over here saw the sun.
And then it looks black right there. You can see like a hole in it.
It's still there, but you can't see it. And the sun is the brightest object we know. It's still there. It's just going so far away. Again, it's just sitting there.
For those that are confused right now, the sun is not this giant ball that's 93 million miles away,
it's
huge radius,
energetic point
that would burn us all. It's a local, small source of energy.
Exactly.
It could be a magnet getting up.
So check this out.
Light. We're not sure.
Like a wormhole.
Scientists don't know how solar panels work. They have a theory that an electron knocks out a boron molecule, and then it creates a current. They can't figure it out because they don't know that the solar panel is just collecting electricity. They can't fathom that electricity is coming from the sun.
Right.
And we can prove that it
may
is.
Be electric. Yes.
Yeah. So they have to make up a stupid theory about boron and electrons, right? But it's just collecting electricity.
A question I ask, and then so if the sun was a big ball of fire, right? It would seem to me that the closer you get to that ball of fire, the hotter it would be, right?
Do you know the center
if
of the
you
earth
go
is
up
hotter?
towards the sun in a plane or whatever the case may be, you should be going closer towards the heat source. Thus, it should be getting hotter. But that's not what happens. It gets colder.
So
Now they'll
check this
say,
out.
"Oh, the atmosphere gets lighter." Yeah, I know all of that. I know all of that.
I have a counter for that.
It
Let's
still
check this
should
out.
get hotter. Go ahead.
It's called, I think it's called thermal radiation. Like my Yeti cup has a vacuum around it, and it keeps my tea hot for 2 days. Okay, and just because that vacuum, so the heat won't go through the vacuum. So they'll claim that the sun's heat is going through a space vacuum, gets to Earth, and it's hot down near the surface, colder at the top. But they tell us that the core of the Earth is hotter than the sun. And it's connected with solid matter. So the thermal radiation should radiate up. It should be boiling hot here. And why is it when we go to the bottom of the ocean, it gets colder and colder and colder?
Right. It should be boiling hot at the bottom. But then you got idiots like Fat Boy over at Godfrey's show. Well, there are some parts of the ocean that are boiling hot. Like, yeah, maybe some certain parts, just like there's volcanoes in certain places, but it's not everywhere. And if the whole thing was magnetic molten lava, then all the ocean should be boiling. They should be boiling because what's under them, just like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Would be boiling the water, but that's not what happens. You fucking idiot.
Yeah, people need to go out and do their own experiments, man. That's why I respect Dave. He goes out there with his cameras, his drones. He does these things. Go ahead and do what he's doing. You'll get the same result.
Shout out to all the people that thought, they could kick me when they thought I was down and maybe Lord Jamar is out right now. Hang on, we got him against the ropes. Motherfucker, please. Fuck all of y'all. I'm glad that a lot of y'all have showed yourself, played your card, because now in 2025, I know how to move with certain people. But yeah, I love it.
On my app on the More Resources page, there's a section called experiments. We did all the experiments for you. You don't have to go out there and freeze your ass off and get equipment and drive miles apart and spend all day and deal with all sorts of weather. We did it for you. You can look at it. We document it.
Experiments?
Yeah, we do.
Scientific improvable things that are repeatable.
Yep. So it's all there. And here, I'll say it again. Don't believe anything that you heard here today. Verify everything, right? On my website, there's tons of free resources. If you want to get the app, that'd be great. That helps support me, and it helps support yourself. You're going to love it. You've got the app, and you've been watching all the featured videos, even just for the featured videos. It feeds you one video every day. I love it.
So Runaway Slave said, so if the earth is flat and we're in a dome, where does the ocean meet this dome? Just asking. I would think somebody would have bumped into it by now.
So here's the thing, man. We cannot explore past 60 degrees south, the parallel. Okay. It is an Antarctic treaty there for a reason, because when Admiral Byrd went over past Antarctica, he found another continent the size of North America over there that no one's ever seen. There's resources. There's probably new animals, new bugs, new everything. And they shut it down right away. Now, this doesn't come before they killed him. They killed Admiral Byrd. They started an Antarctic treaty where we can't go explore over there freely. And then they start NASA. So the timeline's all there for you to understand that we don't know what's past 60 degrees south. They won't let us go explore. Why won't they let us go explore? Because of the penguins? Well, that's the official story why we can't go over there, because of the penguins. Fuck that. It's not because of the penguins. It's because if there's 1,000
but the water doesn't run into the dome, as we don't believe that the water runs right into the dome. We believe the water is contained by an ice wall, and beyond that ice wall there may be a dome.
And
so the shoreline of the world pond is Antarctica. Antarctica is over double the height of the next highest continent. So it's like the edge of a lake. It's higher than the water. So what's beyond that shoreline or that ice wall? We don't know how far Antarctica goes.
Wow, look how high Antarctica is. That's crazy seeing that.
Yeah, contain all the oceans. It's got to contain everything.
Right. And it'd say, well, how do they stop people? Well, these are 8 bases all the way around. You got the Falkland Islands. Remember the Falkland Island War?
Yes.
What was that about? Right. This is these are all controlled by the Crown, and these are military bases that stop you from freely and independently exploring Antarctica. And
now you can go.
Great Britain,
buy your own.
Great Britain is taking the lead on.
They're all in it together. The division of countries is all false. It's all fake. It's all fake.
You could buy a $30,000 ticket. You can go to a secure location on either Deception Island or Rothschild Island.
Right.
These are real names of the island. Deception Island. That's real. So you can go to Deception Island for 30 grand. You have a limited amount of time there. You can't go, hey, thanks. We just got to Antarctica. We're going to travel that way for the next 10 years. Have a great day. You will be turned around. You can't go freely explore. You have to stay at your destination, and then you go the fuck home. You can't just freely explore. If we could freely explore over there, this shit would have been over with. And by 2018, this shit would have been over with. We can't go.
Check this out. These are all the bases. All these dots are the bases, right? So you got South America here, and you got the base over here, right? And then the South Pole would be in the center. And then off of Australia, you have bases over here. Nobody ever goes from this base to this base. They never go over, because this is not just a 10,000 mile circumference little continent at the bottom of a ball. This is what it is. So somebody from this Australian base to go to this base would be like an 80-hour flight. 80. Okay. Yeah. So this is where they all are. They're all around the edge.
And there's been multiple reports of people being arrested, being turned around. Right. I mean, it's just real. Let's just keep it real. There've been multiple reports of this, people missing. I mean, but guys, just so you know, before this treaty started in 1958, and then NASA was 1959. Yeah. So before the treaty started, look at the 1800s. Look at, there's books, there's eyewitness testimony, firsthand accounts of people before the treaty that just wanted to leave the tyrannical nature of America during the Great Fires. They got in their ship, they traveled this way, they wanted to just get the fuck out of Dodge, and they started to see new stars in the sky. How? They started to see, they don't know where they are. They're lost. All of a sudden, they stumble upon a new continent with taller people. Call them giants if you like. But there's a lot of books written back in the day before the treaty explaining what we're talking about. So I don't see the agenda that people had in the 1800s to create stories about more land, more continents, more ancient civilizations over there. Like, people always talk to me all the time about old order. Where'd the giants go? Where'd the giants go? Where are they? Maybe they're over there. Who fucking knows until we can
maybe they're in Afghanistan
to go check.
Right. There's a book called The Iron Republic. A great book. You can find it in the book section, and there's a whole bunch of books, but you can also find this one. It's somebody read it on YouTube. Just search Iron Republic. It's on the channel called The Morgile. Awesome book, amazing, about somebody in the late 1800s that went, found more land, lived there for 10 years, and then came back and told the story. And it's been highly suppressed. But either way, real or not, they're talking about more land beyond Antarctica in the early 1900s.
That's my point, Dave. Why? What's the point of that? That they've buried this information for all these years. If it was just a fantasy book, then why not put it in your local library? If it's just a fantasy book, why suppress it?
Listen, there's another aspect to this that they won't let you go, and that's to the North Pole. Because there's also books back in the days that indicate that there is a magnetic mountain at the center with 4 different we're all basically where the waters come to. There may be like a whirlpool there.
Jamar, do you know what they call that mountain?
Your high tides and low tides would come from, because under this system, almost like a toroidal field, water gets sucked in, and then at some point it gets pushed out. You understand?
Jamar, do you know what that magic mountain? I know a lot of people think Mount Meru, but do you know what the actual authentic name of the mountain in the north is?
What is it?
Here's the question for you. You can answer it right now with another question, another form of a question I'm going to give you. Who is the top corporation that owns everything in the world?
BlackRock.
That's the name of the fucking mountain, bro. Look it
You
up.
know, it's crazy because in Mecca, they circle a black rock. They circle the Kaaba, which is a black rock to me, which is.
And Admiral Byrd had a diary, whether it's real or not, I don't know.
The waters doing that in at the magnetic center at the, yeah.
Admiral Byrd had a diary leaked after his death. I don't know if it's real. I'm not him. I don't know if he wrote that, but I did take a look at some of it. Some of the information there mentioned that he was greeted by giants in the north when he went to explore the north. So again, I mean, talking about projecting the black sun, projecting our sun, moon, and stars. There's so many ancient books back in the day talking about all this shit. Why is it suppressed if it's fantasy? That's what I want to know.
Rhode Island said, sad to hear about Godfrey, but had my suspicions for a while. He admits to having a friend in CIA, and Dante claims he started the Proud Boys. Godfrey also had a weird reaction when a Russian guest joked that he was an agent. Mike TV, I'm a Black American and member of the Muskogee Creek Nation. I help people trace their indigenous roots through my site, Native Black Ancestry. All right, so y'all go check out his site. I've actually done some tracing myself.
I remembered. I want to talk about time zones for a second. So on a ball, you have 24 lines sectioning like sections in an orange off the world, and as the world spins, wherever the sun is, it would be noon in that time zone. So here's a time zone right here from north to south. So anyone lives along here, it would be the same time. Right. The problem with the time zones is the time zones are like that. They say that the sun rays come in parallel, but the earth is tilted. So if we look at the sun rays coming in parallel, if they're coming in from this angle, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 time zones, right? Because it's tilted. So, so all the time zones wouldn't line up. But what's worse than that is there should be 24 time zones, but there's not. There's 19 time zones in the north, 24 time zones between the tropics, and 32 time zones in the south. Wrap that around a ball. What happens to these 32 time zones? They all get crunched down on the bottom. And so they have to cut out sections of the earth, swaths of the earth to make it fit. And there's uncharted waters out there.
And then they changed 24 hours to 12. Now we're in a 12-hour system. And then they do this bullshit with put your clocks forward, put your clocks back. And
to throw us off.
When the sun's above your fucking head, it's noon. You don't need none of this shit. Simple as that. I mean, really. That's what it is. That's why they want to confuse everybody with all their bullshit to trust the globe system. No. We're done with that, man.
Yep.
Right. All of this taking shit on face value. And because, new science, man, it's like a religion, man. It's a religion. And the scientists are the new deacons and preachers and all of this type of shit. And you believe that they have a closer connection to God than you do. So you're just going to take their word for it. And if they say that this is what it is, then that's what it is. Although y'all cannot recreate or reproduce any of this nonsense. When I heard them talking about when I started looking into the vacuum of space and all of this, and they had the nerve to say, oh, but it can't be recreated on Earth. The best thing we can do is do a low pressure type of. I'm like, there y'all go with that bullshit. So you can't recreate it on Earth, but y'all are going to swear up and down that this is what's happening up there. And since we can't go there, the only way is to trust you, huh?
Yep.
To trust the untrustworthy. The motherfucker that's been lying to us, for who knows how long, we supposed to trust you. Hang on. Our runaway slave is back. Thank you, runaway slave. She said, okay, I'll take the Arctic, but what about North, East, and West? The glass can't only be in the South. Eskimos live in the North Pole, or is that a lie? So we're saying that the South goes all the way around. The South isn't like going down like on a ball. The South actually is any direction
north
that you go.
Every direction you point is south.
Right.
Because if I point this direction, it's south. If I point this direction, it's south. if I point, you can't point east and west because they're circles, right? On a ball and on a globe, it's the same, right? So this is the outer south. This is magnetic north.
Now
And
that's
if you don't believe me,
space.
yeah, the outer space would be out here. Get a big magnet, put it on a table, draw a circle around it, and put a compass down in that circle. And then you'll learn. You'll learn that what directions. Every straight line ends up being south. Clockwise circles are west, and counterclockwise circles are east.
So extraterrestrials would be coming from the outer space.
And
the
there
south.
would be no Eskimos at the North Pole because they're not letting people go to the real North Pole. Now, there's probably a fake North Pole that they're saying, you know, where some Eskimos might live or something like that. But I'm sure they're not letting them get nowhere near that magnetic center that that all these planets or all these stars are revolving around, and Polaris is aligned perfectly with, and the sun and the moon are, you know, doing its dance around that magnetic field that's right in the center.
Jamar, you mind
electric center.
You mind if we speculate for a minute?
Go ahead.
You want to pull up some more land, Dave? At least give them a vision of
again,
one
this
of
is
the many reasons they might be lying.
Right. This is what could be possible. This is what's been documented prior to a lot of new education. But again, we haven't been there, but this is what could be, y'all. Check it out.
So here we are, Australia, South America, right? And this is our world. This is Antarctica. And out here is more land. Extra territory, extra terra. If somebody came from the extra terra,
you're right.
It'd be an extraterrestrial from where? The outer space.
Outer space, right.
Right. So the Iron Republic, they left. They went through a channel maybe like that. Then they were lost at sea for a couple of months. This is a big area out here. The stars weren't lining up because they saw different stars. And then they found a city over here, and they ended up living there for 10 years. And then they came back and they told the story. It's very simple.
And that's very possible, obviously. And then, you know, with Admiral Byrd's firsthand account of finding another continent that no one's ever seen before, it makes sense, man. It really, really does. And I think that is when people go, why would they lie? I think this was would be one of the main reasons why they would lie.
Should I show them about Kiribati?
Yeah, you might as well.
All right. And then I might have to wrap it up pretty soon.
All right, yeah, I think we've man, if you ain't learned something yet, I don't know what to tell you.
You're about to learn
something. You might have came here with all the jokes and all of this, and you got served by the nerds. But hopefully, you know, after that wore off, and you sat here and you started to hear something and said, well, God damn, I didn't think about that. That, you know, that does, hang on. They maybe have something here. Yeah.
This was the North Pole vortex filmed by a Russian, allegedly. This is going on the North Pole. That's the only video that has ever been seen, which is interesting. And then this is showing the Black Rock, where the wind patterns, you can see the mountain sticking up. It's taller than Everest. And that's allegedly the tip of the Black Rock. But that's not what I wanted to show you. So here is, where is it? All right. So you can go on ship tracking sites and find ships all over the world. You click on them, it gives you all the information, where they're going and whatever. And we've noticed that there was allegedly a fishing vessel 730 miles inside the shoreline of Antarctica. We're like, how the heck is that possible? At that distance, it's almost 2 miles higher than sea level. Like, how does a ship get in there? Right. We found another one, zooming out a little bit, 905 miles from the closest port, or edge. And we click on it, and that's also over 2.37 miles high. We click on it, and it had very little information. It just said this is it's registered in the nation of Kiribati, or Kiribati it's pronounced, but Kiribati with a T. And it was 850 meters long and 80 meters wide.
That's a big boat.
Yeah, that's a big boat, right? So the question is, how did it get there? So if we look at the ship tracking, We look up Kiribati. It brings us to
where the hell is Kiribati?
It's in the. I put a pin on it because it's literally a sandbar in the middle of the South Pacific. You can't even find it, right? And now it's even harder to find it. I'm going to show you in a second. But there it is. Look, Kiribati, right? BITI, and it's this sandbar in the middle of the ocean. Vietnam, China, America. They say it's a very important trade route. Why does a giant ship have to go there? Right? Why does the giant ship have to go there? We also noticed on Kiribati, just somebody found this, that there's a Captain Cook hotel. Captain Cook is the guy that supposedly circumnavigated Antarctica. It took him 3.5 years, and he went over 68,000 miles to go around a 10,000 mile circle, right? Which on a ball, 10,000 miles, but 68,000 makes sense on a flat Earth. So if we look at all the ships that are at Kiribati, we click on them, and they all have two things in common: either destination unknown or destination Christmas Island, right? You can get into all the suspicion about what Christmas Island is, right? Also, they said they were doing nuke testing at on Kiribati, right? All this crazy nuke testing, right? And they show us there's crazy stories. One of the guys like, I put my hand over my face, I saw the bones in my hands, right? You know, it's like, what are you watching, Bugs Bunny? and so they show us this, an article, and look at these guys. There's a nuclear bomb going off, nice clean white cloud, and nobody seems to care. Right. Nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to care. And then they show this was about Kiribati, but this is the same picture they use in a million other nuke stories, right? And so we look at time zones, which we were just looking at, and there's one time zone that has this weird zigzag, right? This date line, right? And if I zoom in on it and I show you, it goes across 3.5 time zones, right? Why would you need to do this on a globe? They should be symmetrical lines, perfectly, evenly spaced. But I don't know what this means, but this is where Kiribati is, in the weirdest spot ever. Okay, we'll just call that the spot of suspicion, right? the spot of suspicion, right? So these videos started going viral. Well, I'm not done yet, and now when we go to Kiribati, we search it, it brings us to the other side of the world, right? I'm going to zoom out. This is where it brings us to another island called Kiribati, and now Kiribati is all the way over here. People can't find it. Right? They changed it, and they changed the name to Karamati, right? Real time changing. Karamati now.
Yeah,
right?
Dave, you talked too much about this last year. They had to change it.
They changed it, and there's no explanation about it all. I showed you that the time zones are different. But so what could be going on? And this is what I think. Let me just get to it.
Preach.
So where did it go? Where did my thing go?
I know what you're going to show, and I totally agree with this, man. And nothing else makes sense.
Yeah. So this was a map that was found in a Buddhist temple, 10 centuries old, and it was published in 1907 or thereabouts in a Hawaiian newspaper. And it shows all of these continents out here, all of these continents, right? Now think about this. If you took that and wrapped it around a basketball, all those continents would be squished into the bottom. And they would all be squished into the bottom. And so maybe it is an important trade route. Kiribati and the boats going out here. Push that around, he's in the middle of Antarctica. And so maybe they're going out there trading computer chips or tuna fish or children or whatever. We don't know what's going on. And here's the thing.
Well, how many kids are missing all the time?
How would you know? How would you know? Because you never heard about Kiribati until this very sentence, this very conversation. And what if there's another one here going out here? What if there's another one here going out here? What if this is where the giants live? What if this is where the Mayans live? What if this is where the Iron Republic is?
And what if that's where all the missing people get taken to? Yeah.
So check this out. We had a guy that worked in a chip company in Microsoft. I forget which one it was. And he was kind of a whistleblower. And he said, they'd be working and they'd always try to make like tiny improvements to these chips, but they barely ever make any real adjustments. And then all of a sudden the industry says, hey, we need a chip 4 times faster. And they all look at each other and they're like, what are we going to do? And then like the CEO comes in and goes, here, use this chip, re-engineer this chip. And they backwards engineer a brand new chip came out of a desk somewhere, right? Where did it come from? Right. What are they trading? Technology, weapons, maybe directed energy weapons, Everybody needs to watch Says today, Greg Reese, the Reese Report. I don't know if you guys know that. Find him on Substack. Find him anywhere. Greg Reese, the Reese Report. He just put out a video on directed energy and what's happening on the West Coast. We won't say too much because we're on YouTube. Watch that video, please, everybody.
Hang on. I'm sorry. Why do we have a horizon if the world is flat? Because a horizon goes straight across.
The horizontal eye zone.
Right.
The horizon.
What? I've never heard a question that was so ass backwards. Sorry. Threw me off a little bit.
Flat Earth Dave, you heard about the pyramid in Alaska?
There's pyramids everywhere, man.
Right.
There's a pyramid buried in Alaska, right?
There's a pyramid buried in Antarctica, I heard.
There's pyramids in America that are buried. There's pyramids everywhere, right? Again, you guys got to watch Old World Order and then back up to My Lunch Break. Amazing channel of fascinating, mind-blowing. Guess what? I'm going to save you guys some money. Anyone that has Netflix, you're going to cancel Netflix because you don't need it anymore. We're gonna bring you to so much good content. It's mind-blowing, right? It's absolutely mind-blowing, and it's all there for you for free. It's all out there. Okay. Check out my website. Check out the crash course. Check out everything we're talking about. Don't stop investigating. Find the truth. Free your minds. This is it.
Yo, I appreciate you guys coming through. Giving this presentation, showing that we are not, loony bins or Looney Tunes or whatever people try to portray us as.
We're soldiers of God, Jamar. We are soldiers of God, and we're here to do the work. So, the haters are going to fall by the wayside, man. They're not going. We're in a war, and they're not going to make it if they don't get on board here and start looking at the truth for what it is. They're going to be left in the dust, unfortunately. We don't want that, man. We want people to wake up. Stop defending people that don't care about you, that created these lies and taught you in school. That you're
amazing.
Defending Satanist pedophiles that don't give a fuck about you. So, I mean, what does that say about you in reality? You know what I mean? Like, what is that really saying? Who are you defending? You're defending us that's trying to represent truth and trying to go out there and do things and try to experiment and try to go against the grain and not believe the government just because they told you something. Why would you come at people like us?
They want you to think that your God-given natural ability and intelligence is invalid, and only what you learn in the Rockefeller schools matters, right? They want you to think that somebody that has a degree that actually obeyed all the rules, memorized all the bullshit, that they have authority over you. That's fucking retarded, okay? Right? We have intelligence, right? They don't want you to know that the words that come out of people's mouths is less than 1% of the meaning. You have to look at their micro expressions as I talk. You have to look at the energy coming off of them. You have to look at the tone that they use, the spacing of their words, the intensity, everything. That's what communicates. Right. But they want you in this physical world spitting out their bullshit facts, which are not facts, and living under their rule. Nobody rules over you other than God.
Yep.
Hey,
that's my boss.
Well, listen, I definitely appreciate y'all coming through, and make sure flatearthdave.com, Sean Hibbler.
HibblerProductions.com. And
World Order.
Anybody want to watch, go to HibblerProductions.com, watch the films, learn some truth.
Right. And flatearthdave.com. All his stuff is linked there also. Just go to the crash course. If you forget anything, flatearthdave.com, crash course in the middle of the website. Start watching the videos there, and your life will change. It will matter. You will see why.
And yes, listen, this is a fact, regardless how you feel inside, or regardless if I made a misstep on, that other show, it still doesn't change the fact. Just like with the hip hop debate we've been talking about. Let's just say I got into this boxing match with Crazy Legs, right? And we're fighting and, Crazy Legs knocked me down for a second. Does that change the facts about hip hop as we truly know it? Like, no, it doesn't. And I would get back up and start whooping ass. And that's what the fuck I do. So again, all you Revenge of the Nerds out there that felt good about, feel good about yourself for that little time being. But I hope y'all got something from this presentation today. That just makes you go back and just do your own research, because that's all we want you to do. But all the giggling and all the bullshit without doing the research is what pisses me off. So again,
I want to thank you for having me on, Jamar. I appreciate you. You're a great friend, just someone to know. Since I put you in my phone book, I felt fortunate to know you. I want to thank you one more time for those that didn't hear. He is in Old World Order. Go watch your boy Jamar spit some history knowledge in this motherfucking documentary. I'm very proud of you for that, man. I'm very appreciative of you as well. And thank you to your wonderful audience for watching the show.
Now, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your thoroughness, your scholarship and your wealth of, information that you have at your fingertips, that you're trying to,
get the
help
truth
people. Yeah, get the truth out there, make understanding understood. I appreciate it. That's what I'm on, that same mission. And, we'll hit bumps in the road sometimes, but we keep going. So yeah, thank y'all. And shit. We're going to do this again.
Oh, yeah. We'll do it again
right,
in the future. 100%.
Thanks, brother.
I appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
Peace.
God bless.
Rhode Island said, great song by Fela Kuti called Everything Scatter. Sums up these scams. Coco. Thank you, Coco. Coco said Isaiah 11:12 and Revelation 7:1 both confirm that the earth's flat. Yeah, I mean, anybody that calls themselves a Christian, that believes in the Bible, y'all should just be flat earthers just by default. But a lot of y'all don't read your book, so you wouldn't really know about that science. Y'all need to check out the Book of Enoch. Okay, go check out the Book of Enoch, because the Book of Enoch really breaks down the science of the stars and the sun and the moon and how things really work on this planet. And again, people, we're not on a ball. And I apologize for my misstep on that show. But my spirit was just, the shit wasn't sitting right with me. It was a lot of funny shit going on that day, y'all. But, I'll take the L. I'll take that L. But I'm always going to come back like a champion. So I appreciate y'all for coming through. Once again, if you didn't, click that like. Subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, click that notification bell and click all so you know when we got a new video coming. And shout out to Mike TV, the first channel member. If you would like to join the channel, I think it would be advantageous for you to do so. We're going to have a Discord channel, all of that type of shit. Man, we ready to go. If you want to talk to the God one-on-one, maybe once a month for an hour or so. Yeah, that's something we're going to be doing. Pick the God's brain and see if I'm dumb as rocks. See if I'm dumb as rocks or not. Again, shout out to everybody that thought they were going to capitalize off of this, and they made their little videos and, got the little views off of it. Kudos. Happy. I'm so happy for you. Live it up, because it's going to be short-lived. So once again, we're gonna leave out the way we came, with the motherfucking elephant.
As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room.
Streaming on all platforms
Let's address
now.
the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room.
I appreciate y'all.
Shout out my Ricans and Jamaicans. I know you think I'm hating, but you had no influence in creation of this hip
All
hop.
the haters.
Your participation was tip top, but black Americans showed you how to rip shop. Have you forgot that we taught you how to dress? Back then, coming out
Your hate
looking
didn't
like
go
the
that
best.
deep, huh?
Y'all were dumbing out. Tank tops made a mess, shoes clunky. We showed you how to get
Yeah.
fresh amongst the best.
That
We helped you learn the language, so at school you wouldn't flunk the test.
Let's address the elephant in the room.
The elements came from Bam, the man grooms. Breaking just another dance that came from the culture. Don't be like the other man and act like a vulture. All day influences, FBA. I'll say it's true right to this day.
As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's
Shout
address
out to all the nerds
the
that think
elephant
they
in the
want
room.
something.
The elements.
You assess such an elegant tune. Let's
Yeah.
address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Okay, the sun isn't 93 million miles away.
It's not.
If it was, then why is it dark in space? The sun and moon are right here in the atmosphere. It's clear. Just that information that these bastards
Tell me
fear.
about no
I send an
vacuum.
invitation
Shouldn't see
to Neil
no
deGrasse
light
Tyson. Want to debate him because I feel that his ass lying. How is
Why
the
did
fly
they didn't
defying
leave the
gravity?
pod, Zulu?
If it's holding down the ocean,
Shut
that's
up.
a ridiculous notion. And water always finds its level. It can't curve on a ball, but y'all still have the nerve and the gall to call me a flat earther.
Taurus.
Like I'm a bad person. Shit is sad when I see the ignorance worsen. And I know this doesn't jive with the lessons, but I will always
Enoch
be a
is not a
5
fake
to my
book. Shut
essence. I think it's time we address it. Renew our Quran, what we need to do, word is born.
As you assess such an elegant tune, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. You assess such an elegant tune. Let's address the elephant in the room.
We just sat here and built on the whole
elephant
shit.
in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Now go do your research. If I'm incorrect, Lance, then go prove that, sir. Okay? You got 3 Bitcoins waiting on you just to prove me wrong. And anybody that can prove me wrong, well, God damn it, if you do, I will apologize. But you can't. Again, I thank y'all. Appreciate you for coming through. I will be back soon. And yeah. All you sucker ass motherfuckers, enjoy yourself. All you sellouts for a view, enjoy it. Cause that'll be the most views you ever gonna get, motherfuckers. And I'm out, y'all. Peace.